Well, happy Friday, everyone. You know what that means, another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you are gracing us with your presence, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you'll see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care. So guys and gals, we are coming to you guys tonight on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. No Facebook tonight. There's something wrong with the stream. It wouldn't start. So Facebook, if you guys want to come hang out, come on over to YouTube or one of the other platforms. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. The weather's finally starting to get a bit more pleasant. Nicer to be out there mowing. And I got to do some turf raking this week, a little bit of everything this week. So it should be a fun show tonight. We got some new equipment from some viewers, some people fighting with some Bermuda mites in their lawn, and of course we have all the questions that you guys always have that make the show interesting. All right, so let's see who's in the live stream tonight. First of all, we got Lawnmower Master stopping in to say, looking forward to tonight's stream. Hope all is going well. It is. I cannot complain. Cannot complain. Even if I did, no one would listen, right? So better just to make the best of whatever is going on. Then next up, we got That Crazy Lawn Guy. He says, I was at Real Rowers Monday. Mower's awesome. Lee's awesome. Apparently missed Ron by a couple of hours. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I may have been by there Monday around lunchtime, I think. But yeah, you may have missed me because I go there at least once a week. So yeah. Sorry you missed me. I'm sure there'll be another time when I'm there and you might run into me and, feel free to say hi or whatever. Guys, it's interesting. So this week, there's been a lot of content published on YouTube, stuff that was filmed last Sunday. Lee brought the new Revolution 26 mower by. He let Alex have a play with it. He had me have a play with it. So we had it for 5 or 6 hours on Sunday, and all that content that you guys saw that was filmed and was released this week was all shot on Sunday. Great mower, really do like it. Got to use it on the slope, which that answered the question all you guys have is how does it do on a slope? So that has been answered. Did a little comparison between it and the Greensmaster 1600 on the back lawn. And then there's also some footage of Alex using it on his lawn. I still need to edit that. And then he's giving his thoughts on the mower as well too. So that video hasn't been released. I'll see if I can get it done. It's not going to be like a more of a formal video. It's just really some clips of him doing a how to cut reset using it, showing that, you can have it do some real work. It's not just a prissy mower. It's not like a mower you can just, you just keep it all green and all nice and shiny. It can actually do work. That chain drive system was getting it done. So he was resetting his how to cut with it. And yeah. So I'll get that shot and you guys can, or get that edited and you guys will be able to check that out if you're interested. All right. So let's see who we have here on Instagram. We got Nate Fells in the house, Kid V. So guys, any of you guys that are on Instagram, if you guys want to be part of the show, feel free to drop your question, comment, whatever you want to say. And, I'll bounce back and forth and get you guys in as well. So don't feel like just because you're on the gram that you're not part of it. All right. That crazy long guy says, good. I asked Jason. I wonder if he spiked through lemonade. Oh, I guess it's a question about what I'm drinking tonight. All right. But guys, what's interesting, it's funny. It's like backpack sprayers and mowers. Like those two topics are so polarizing. Like, I thought I gave a fairly balanced review of the mower. My thoughts on it, it was literally like when you guys saw in that video, if you guys haven't seen it, I'll post it here in the chat. What you guys saw in that video was literally the first time I mowed with that mower on my slope. So I started it up and it was like one take. If it went bad, it was going to go bad. If it went good, it was going to go good. And people are very, very, passionate about their opinions on equipment, and just, I don't know. I don't get it. All right, so next up we got Oliver Rittem in the house on the topic of some new equipment. He says, happy Friday, Ron and gang. Graduated to the GOAT mower and ready for the next season. Everyone throw your hands up in the air and wave to my new hardware. All right, so he did send me a picture of his new hardware. It is worthy. I mean, here's the thing. Oliver, as far as like a position of one-upmanship, I got a 1600. Oliver also got a 1600, but check his out. Look what my man's working with. I mean, he got the lighting package on that. That's clean, man. Very clean. I like it. Mower, I mean, it looks, looking at the chassis, it looks like it's relatively low hours, man. It looks to be in great shape. And again, the lights are nice. I do not have that on my mower. So first of all, we have to clap it up. We got to give you congrats for that. You will really enjoy that mower. Use it in good health. I didn't see what blade count you got. You didn't tell me that. I can't tell if it's an 8 or 11. It looks like it could be an 8. But drop us a line there in the chat if you're still here. Let me know what your blade count is on that mower. Very nice. Congrats again. You will not be disappointed with that mower. It's a great piece of equipment as long as it's set up properly. Produces an amazing cut. So congrats on the new GM 1600 with the light package, I might add. So yeah, congrats for that. We got Jackie Bear in the house saying, Brother Ron, have an excellent stream, sir. We holler. I really do appreciate it. Of course, Jackie, we're always relaxing, chilling, making the best of the situation. And yeah. Next up, we got Ryan Babbage in the house. He says, question, Primo Max and Tenacity. How far apart should I apply both? It doesn't really matter. I mean, you could do them on the same day if you wanted to. You could do them a day apart. Like the two don't really interact, Ryan. So, Tenacity is a herbicide. Primo Max is a growth regulator. I'm trying to think if you were going to spray them. I've never sprayed them together or known of anyone spraying them together. But as far as, the timing between them, you could literally spray Primo in the morning, let that dry, and then you could come back and spray with Tenacity. If you're spot spraying, it doesn't really matter, right? But if you're blanket spraying the lawn with Tenacity, because you're doing a renovation or you're trying to clean up weeds as part of an overseeding project, I would do the Primo and then I would do the Tenacity. There's not really any time distance that needs to be between them, as long as you don't like run irrigation right after you apply the Primo Max. So hope that helps. Great question. Lots of great questions from you guys on overseeding and can I apply this with Tenacity? I've not gotten so many questions on Tenacity in previous years as I have this year, as far as like what can you use along with it whenever you're doing seeding. And Primo Max is a new one. So Primo and Tenacity, no issues there, no problems with that. And it makes sense, Ryan, because you think about it. Like if you're trying to, like, well, if you were asked this question, I got a question about this via email, and they said, I'm trying to slow down the growth of my existing grass because I'm trying to thicken things up, and it's a good strategy if you're trying to not just slow down how quickly your existing grass that's maybe a little bit thin is growing, and to give the grass that you're overseeding or the new grass seed that you're putting down, more opportunity to germinate, take root, and grow in. Yes, that's a good strategy. There's really nothing wrong with that. And again, to answer your question, as far as how far apart, you could literally do them on the same day if you wanted to. No issues with that at all. All right, so we got a couple of super chats. Let me run down here and grab these really quick. First up, actually, I'm going to do them in reverse orders because that way I don't have to change. So the first up is that Crazy Lawn Guy. Thank you so much, Crazy Lawn Guy.
Super chat received.
Because I appreciate your input on the Revolution 26 and feel confident after using it. That is an honest opinion we're getting. No video per Lee's request. Okay, sounds good. And then next up, we have Lance F with a super chat. Thank you so much, Lance. Appreciate this.
Super chat received.
He sent you pics. We have germination. Yeah, buddy. Loving it. Awesome. So that Crazy Long Guy and Lance F. Lance, with your super chat, you are the show's sponsor, sir. I just wanted to get that Crazy Long Guy's question answered real quick. So there you go. Your name in lights. I make some lowercase f. I want to make sure it's correct. Your name in lights, for whatever that means to you. Yeah, it's a solid mower on that Crazy Long Guy. I mean, it's nothing to I put it this way, in the category that it's competing in. So McLean's, Trimmers, True Cuts, Rolex. I mean, in that price point, it's, in my opinion, of the mowers that, because I've used all of them, I mowed with all of them. That one by far punches above its weight. Like Lee could actually charge more for it, in my opinion, than he is. And he wouldn't, it would still be a good value given everything that it comes with and just how well it cuts. So yeah, you should feel confident with it. I think it's a great mower. And there's going to be replacement parts for it, it's going to have wear items like anything else. I had one person that was talking about the Revolution, saying that it has a clutch system in it and that can eventually wear. And I mean, while they're correct, that's true for every mower, right? Everything has, like the True Cut has a clutch system in it that can wear. My Greensmaster 1600, which again, I will say is, in my opinion, the best cutting mower that I have, at least an 11 blade variant anyway. Every year I put new belts on it. There's dry bolts on the side, and I replace those. The one time I didn't do that, like halfway through the season, it broke on me while I was mowing. So every year I make it a point to just replace those because it's a maintenance, a wear item, right? So every mower has things that you're going to have to take care of. I don't know as far as the clutch in the Revolution 26. Can't see being a weak point. It didn't start slipping or do anything crazy when I was using it. But yeah, like anything else, if you take care of it, it will take care of you. All right, so guys, thank you so much for the super chats. I really do appreciate it. We got a question now here on the Instagram from Offroad Envy. First of all, he says, more of a comment. He says, "Hey Ron, it's our favorite day. LOL, grass talk with the best." I appreciate that, sir. Thank you for all the kind words. And then next up is Backyard Dad. He has a question. He says, "What is the best spray tip to apply herbicide? I have the Yard Mastery backpack sprayer." Great question, that Backyard Dad. It depends on the herbicide you're talking about. If you're talking about a post-emergent herbicide like Celsius, like Certainty, like Tenacity, Sedgehammer, if you're talking about any of the post-emergent herbicides, the ones that are designed to kill weeds after they've already germinated, in most cases, not always, but in most cases, you're going to go with a foliar spray tip. So a fine droplet tip. If you have the Yard Mastery sprayer, it came with one that looks like this. For you guys on everything else, it looks kind of like that. It's going to produce a finer droplet size, which is going to help it coat the leaf of the plant better. It's going to help maximize uptake, and you're going to get a better result. So with the Yard Mastery sprayer, you're going to have a white tip, a white spray tip, which is the Flood Jet tip. That is the one you're going to use for fungicide, for insecticide, for pre-emergent. That is not what I would use if you're spraying something like Celsius or Certainty. So it really depends. You said herbicide, pre-emergent is technically a herbicide. So if you're spraying pre-emergent, the white tip. If you're spraying, a foliar uptake post-emergent herbicide or liquid fertilizer, or most liquid fertilizers, or biostimulants or anything, or growth regulator like Primo Max, those are all going to be the red tip. So in my case, for the most part, the red tip lives on my sprayer. The times when I use the Flood Jet tip are springtime for pre-emergent, early spring again for my fungicide and insecticide applications, and then it kind of gets set aside for until like now this time of year when I spray pre-emergent with it, and then October, so the beginning of next month, so 15 days from now, I'll be doing my first fall fungicide application of Pillar SC, and then in November again, along with my second Apospectical. So really, it's more towards the ends of the year, ends of the season is when I tend to use the foliar spray tip. The Flood Jet tip gets a lot more use than the Flood Jet. And the way you'll know with that particular sprayer is the red tip. The red spray tip is the one you're going to want to use for for your foliar apps. Hope that helps. Congrats on the new sprayer. It's an awesome bit of kit. And if you have any other questions, let me know. All right, Ryan Babbage is up. He says, "Ooh, it's going to be a good one tonight." Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I don't know what's going to be especially good, but it should be as good as the others. How's that? How was that? We got Jason Harrison. He says, "Most important questions of the night. What's your lemonade situation tonight? And did you try the 50/50 sugar diet lemonade? We need to know. Have a great stream and happy Friday, y'all." Okay, so the situation tonight is just an Arnold Palmer. It's a Milo's Arnold Palmer, about a third full with water, and then Arnold Palmer up to about right there. So, I diluted. So this much water, and then ice, and then Arnold Palmer. That's what I'm working with. I did not try the 50/50. I chickened out, man. Here's the thing. Chick-fil-A lemonade is one of the few joys, one of the few major joys I have every single week. Like mowing my lawn is a highlight, and I always look forward to Saturday morning when I'm going to karate, getting my Chick-fil-A lemonade on the way there. So when I'm done, I got like that, my large, no ice, a cup of lemonade waiting for me, and I didn't want to take the chance of just it not being good, and so I didn't do it. I didn't try it. I mean, if you know what I could do? I think Chick-fil-A makes a small. I mean, I never go there and get a small because seems like a commitment, but I could get a small half and half and just drink that on the way to karate. That way, next week when you guys ask me this again, I'll be able to say, yeah, I tried it. It was okay, or yeah, I tried it. It's my new thing, or whatever, So tomorrow I will get a small half and half and try it, and then I'll get my normal size that that's gonna be the regular. So sorry, Jason, sorry to disappoint. You'll have to wait yet another week to find out. Yet another week. All right, next up we have Oliver Ridham. He says, "Ron, I do think I have mites in my lawn according to the photo I sent earlier. Order Delta Guard G and we'll see how it goes." Yeah, it's hard to see, Oliver, so you sent me a picture of the mites. Let me see if I can get that up here really quick. So this is a picture of the situation he's dealing with. And I don't know, Oliver. I've never had mites in my lawn to be able to know what they look like. I mean, the grass on the right definitely looks a lot less happy than what's on the left. But yeah, if you think that's what you have, and especially if there's other people in your area that have had issues with mites, it's not going to hurt anything to go out and get you, a bag of Delta Guard and put that down. It's better to prevent the damage than be guessing. So yeah, keep me posted as far as how it works. And yeah, if you need anything else, let me know. And again, congrats on the new mower. For any of you guys who are just joining now, if you guys weren't here for the first few minutes, you guys missed out on seeing Oliver's new mower. But because I like you, I'm going to show you. That's his new hardware. Toro Greensmaster with the lighting package. It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. I'm jealous. I don't have lights on mine. All right, next up is No Name. He says, "Hey, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts. The weather is great. I hope everyone is getting their pre-emergent down. Let's get those likes up for some great lawn chat." Absolutely, guys. So you guys know I applied my pre-emergent 2 weeks ago, right? Late August, early September is when I got mine down. Some of you guys decided you were going to wait a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks is now. So if you're in Georgia, get your pre-emergent down. There's really not any negative to getting it down a little bit early. So, but now that we are in we're leaving summer. Summer is quickly leaving us behind. We're entering fall. Get your pre-emergent down because taking care of POA, taking care of weeds after the fact is more time consuming. It's more expensive. It's more of a headache when you can just prevent it with a good pre-emergent app. And you know what? On the Golf Course Lounge store, we not only get that good now. For those of you that have warm season lawns, we now carry Specticle Flow. So you've still got prodiamine, you still got dithiopyr if you want to use that, but you also got the Cadillac. You got the Cadillac Specticle Flow available on the Golf Course Lawn store now as well, if you are so interested. So don't wait. Get your pre-emergent down. I beg you, please do it so that we don't have to have a bunch of questions here in 3 months, early January, saying, oh my goodness, my lawn's all full of weeds. What do I do? You know what I mean? We don't want to be that. You don't want to be that guy or gal. So apply your pre-emergent. It's cheap insurance. Cheap, cheap, cheap insurance. All right. So next up, we have a super chat. So we got a couple super chats. Let me run down there and grab them really quick. Listen, we're going to have a new show sponsor. The first super chat is from Mr. James Smith. He says,
Super chat received.
cutting the allowance for the lemonade since you chickened out. Oh, man. Well, here's the thing. You're right, James. $10 will get me, in this day and age, $10 will get me will get me a small lemonade. And I will, you know what? Even better. I'm not, well, I don't want to do it. I don't want to, it's pointless to do that. I was going to say I could do like a YouTube story and post it tomorrow of my thoughts on it, but like no one, I mean, people that don't watch the live stream are not going to have any context. So it's not going to make sense. But next week, I'll tell you what, here's the thing. I give you my word, which I don't normally do. I don't throw that around lightly. I give you my word. Tomorrow, I will try a 50-50 Chick-fil-A lemonade blend. It's going to be a small one so that next week, I'll be able to tell you guys what I think about it. So there you go. Now I'm committed to it because I said I'm going to do it. I gave my word. I swore on it. So it's going to happen. So here we go. It's life before this and there's life after this, James. Thank you so much for the super chat. And then next up, we have Cedric G.
Super chat received.
He says, Big Ron, I have 100 reasons to prove that the GM stripe's better than, than the other mower. Turf's up, furt down, stripe action. Here's the thing. Yeah, so I will tell you, the GM 1600 is the best cutting mower that I have. The 1600 is top. The Owlet is a close second. Not quite as good as the GM, but a close second. And then the Revolution is below those, and then everything else. As far as the best stripe, that's what I'm talking about. Best cut, GM 1600. Best stripe, that goes to the Owlet. So here's an example. Actually, this is from yesterday evening before karate. I turf raked the lawn in 2 different directions, and then I cut it with the GM 1600. So the stripes, really, we have to give that the nod, I think, to the Owlet. But you guys can see what the lawn looks like. This is after being turf raked in 2 different directions, and then it was mowed with the 1600 as my final cleanup cut. Main reason why, so I already had the GM out because I had to go mow the front lawn. I was lazy. I didn't feel like swapping batteries, so I just mowed the back lawn with it. But there you go. So you have to admit, man, I mean, you know, once you get all that debris out of the lawn, and the color, the best part about turf raking, the best part is how nice, how awesome the color looks afterwards. You guys see that video now. Go look at like any of my pictures of my lawn from like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and you'll see the color, the depth of color is so much nicer just after a turf rake because of all the dead stuff, all the dead crud that you get out of the lawn as part of that process. So thank you so much for the super chat, Cedric. I really do appreciate it. It means a whole lot. And based on that, sir, you are our new show sponsor, Cedric G. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you so much. All right, so we have another super chat. One more before I run back up. Mr. Oliver Ridham, he says, appreciate the clap, sir. Pre-emergent question.
Super chat received.
Didn't apply any this year, so I plan to apply prodiamine, 0.8 ounces per 1,000 square feet this fall. Is it okay to apply 0.8 ounces again in the spring of 2024, then something else like Spectacle Flow for the fall of 2024? I mean, as long as you're not doing more than 0.80, more than 0.80 in a 12-month period, Oliver. So if you're going to do 0.80 now, I would prefer if you did something like dithiopyr in the spring. I'd rather you do that versus doing 0.8 now and then figure late February you're doing it again. I mean, that's a bit close for me. If it were me, I would do dithiopyr in the spring. That is what I would go with. So yeah, because in your case, for good example, right? Like in the year that I did, it was probably 2 years ago when I did the coastal blend, right? Where I did prodiamine, simazine, and imazaquin. And I did prodiamine at the higher end. It wasn't quite 8.80, but at the higher end of the application rates. That following spring, I went with dithiopyr as my spring pre-emergent. I didn't use prodiamine again. So I would encourage you to do that. If you want to switch to Spectacle in the fall next year, that would be awesome. Using Spectacle this fall also would be a great idea as well too. Granted, I know you just bought a mower, so maybe Spectacle's not in the cards for this fall. Maybe it's a next fall thing. I get it. But yeah, if you're gonna do prodiamine at the high rate this fall, go to dithiopyr in the spring. Switch it up a little bit. That is what I would do. So great question. Thank you so much for the super chat. It really does mean a lot. And he did say that I asked him about what blade count of his mower, and it was an 11 blade. So 11 blade, nice. It cuts good, man. I tell you, as long as you're disciplined and you keep it at 3/4 of an inch or shorter, you're not going to really run into any issues. That 11 blade cuts great, man. So yeah, congrats, awesome mower. You're really going to enjoy the cutting with that. It's a nice bit of kit. All right, you're very, very welcome, the Backyard Dad. And then we'll move on to our next question, which is from Colin Potter. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Getting there on my 20,000 square feet. Backyard is rocking, and my later summer soil test came in. Almost all improved and ready to shut her down for the winter. Cheers, brother, sent the soil test results. Very nice, Colin. Very cool. Glad to hear that you're making progress on your 20,000 square foot lawn and that your soil tests are trending in a direction that you are happy with. It's better than it not trending in the direction that you're happy with. So yeah. Do I have soil test results from you? Let's see here. Yes, you sent me a bunch of them. So you got this was February, and then this one. What am I looking at? Are they all from February? Let me look here. I can't see. Yeah, so February, and then this month. Okay, cool. So yeah, I can get these on the show. Colin, if I can drop one here down really quick. Let me get the better one. Let's do the one that's easier to read, which is this guy. Yeah, this one. Okay, so this is one of what I want to show you guys is one of the best parts about going with the MySoil test kits is the trend data, right? Being able to compare results between spring and fall. So this is Colin's soil test results. So there we go. Make sure I can make this bigger. And what you're going to see is to the left was February of this year, and then to the right was 9/9, so like last week. And you can see how things are trending, right? So I'm not sure what fertilizer he was using on the lawn, but you can see overall, like his nitrogen is higher, phosphorus is a little bit higher, potassium's higher, pretty much across the board. His calcium went down a little bit, as did his magnesium. Sodium dropped a little bit. And then when we get to the micros, those went a bit higher. Zinc is quite a bit higher. So yeah, overall, some parameters higher, some lower, but overall you can see the trend, at least for the macros, are going up. So you didn't tell me what kind of fertilizer you were using, Colin, but yeah, it looks good, man. Looks like you're doing a great job with your nutrient program. The pH is right in the middle. It's whatever you did as far as to bring that up, I really like. So that's also you did a lot of really good work this year as far as improving your soil quality. So good stuff. Keep it going, man. Keep it rolling. All right, next up we have Geek Girl says, yeah, I got mites and nutsedge. I'm ready. Cool. So are you all geared up? You have your insecticides, you got your post-emergent herbicide, you're all good to go as far as knocking out the mites and nutsedge in your lawn? Very nice. Good stuff. Okay, next up we got Leo Garcia in the house. He says, hello, Ron. It's raining and only 80 degrees in Austin. Happy dance. See, there you go, guys. I told you guys, last month, this time, you guys were still saying, oh, it's 100 degrees, the world hates us. It's never going to end. What's going to happen? And now here we are a month later, and temps are a lot less bad, right? 20 degrees cooler than they were a month or so ago. So Leo, if you haven't done it yet, look into getting your pre-emergent down. Again, you want to be ahead of that. 80s still, you can wait a little bit longer, but I mean, it's not going to be too much longer before you're going to be in that window for applying your fall pre-emergent. So absolutely, you're going to want to get that done. Going to want to get that down. All right. Next up, we have that crazy lawn guy. He says, some fun Facebook drama on McLean site this week. Apparently, the Revolution 26 is Voldemort. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Backpack sprayers and mowers. I of the content that I've done, nothing has been more polarizing than that. Like as far as because you know what? I don't know what it is. I think it's that I think that it's like people that like they have another backpack sprayer, right? When I was talking with the Yardmaster one, for example, I was saying it's a great sprayer, love the Flow Zone, but this one's a better deal, comes with all the spray tips, yada, yada, yada. If you guys go back and look through the comment section for that video, my good Lord, heaven, hell had no fury like what I received after posting that video, which is partly why like I'm just like doing the comparison videos all the time is just not great because there's really no win. But when it comes to mowers, guys, here's the thing. I do like the Revolution 26. It's not because I like Lee and it's because he's my friend, because we've spoken about it. It's because of the options that he was looking at going with and of the mowers that I've used, especially at the price point, it's the best deal out there. So, but here's the thing. If you have a McLean and it's sharp and you love your McLean, use your McLean. There's nothing wrong with a McLean. If you have a Greensmaster 1600 and you like your Greensmaster, I mean, I don't think if you have a 1600, you're going to be typically jealous of the Revolution. But if you do and you like it, mow with your mower. If you got an Owlet and you love that, mow with that. It doesn't really matter, guys. With mowers, kind of like with backpack sprayers, and I should have said that in one of the videos I released this week, is in most cases, it's really the Indian, not the arrow. So as long as the mower is sharp, key thing, it's sharp, it's set up properly, and you're doing all the other things right, it's going to produce a great result. If you look in that comparison video that I did with the Greensmaster 1600 and the Revolution, with me on the lawn, I can look at the two different areas and I can tell which mower was cut with which, or which part of the lawn was cut with which, because of the quality of the cut. Like the best way to describe like an 11 blade Toro Greensmaster, what it does to grass is it dices it. Like if you look at the grass catcher, it's like literally diced grass. It's like fine, almost like powder. Where it turns grass almost into like this. I mean, it's just very, very fine cut. The Revolution produces an excellent cut, better than my True Cut does. But again, at 20 feet from where the camera was, you guys were looking at it. None of you guys could say that one is obviously better. That one is, some of you guys had opinions on it, but I mean, for the most part, it's not like there wasn't a whole lot in it. So I'm sorry there's drama on the McLean Facebook group, but there's always drama, man. When it comes to gear, people are always just, they're always upset about something. And what it is that people want to feel validated by their purchase. Like, think about it. You go out and you buy a new car, right? Or you buy a new phone, or you buy a new mower. You go out, you look at the reviews, and you want to see if other people like the thing that you just bought because it helps validate your purchase. When really, if you like it, that's all that really matters. If you like it, you get a good result with it, just roll with it. What other people think doesn't really matter. Like I don't buy my mowers or my stuff based on what I think, based on what people are going to think about it. If I like it and it fits what I need, I buy it. And if I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I get rid of it and get something else, right? So sorry there's drama, that crazy lawn guy, but enjoy it, man. There's always drama in the lawn community. This is just something new. All right, next up is Robert Rainey. He says, evening, everyone. Great to see the old GM out doing work again. Here's the thing. The GM does work every week. You guys are acting like I just have the GM in there collecting cobwebs. For the most part, it is true. The GM does not mow the back lawn. The Owlet, for the most part, the Owlet is, the back lawn is the Owlet's domain. The C27 is what handles that. But every week, the GM is mowing the front lawn. It's mowing the vanity strip in front of the front lawn. It'll mow, I'll use it for some cleanup cuts in some areas, like near the swale area, because it does a little bit better job than the Owlet does, because it's a lighter mower. It's less likely to cause like slight scalping that the Owlet can cause if you don't, depending on the direction you're mowing in. So, a good example, I'll actually show you guys what I'm talking about. So if you look right, I'll show you, okay. If we move across, I'm not sure if this pan is going to get there and show you, but I'll see if I can get there and pause it. Okay, so if we get to right, yeah, this is going to work right here. Okay, so if you see the right side of the frame, actually, it's actually perfect. Yeah, you see the right side of my lawn where it kind of slopes up. It kind of angles up, or like it's almost like a bowl towards Alex's lawn. If I mow that section with the C27 with the Owlet, and I mow it in the direction that you guys are seeing the stripes, it produces an uneven cut there because of how heavy the mower is. It like the lower side will bite into the turf a little bit more, and it just creates like not necessarily always a scalp, but the cut isn't as good. So that area, that one little bowl section there, I put the 1600 on that because it's quite a bit lighter than the Owlet, and it produces a better cut. So it's not going to dig in there when I'm mowing it in that direction. If I mow lengthwise, I can mow the entire lawn with the Owlet, and it's beautiful. It's a thing of glory. But when you're mowing like, along the half pipe, instead of like perpendicular to the half pipe, but along the half pipe, that is when you can get some uneven cut issues with it when you have a really heavy mower like the C27. So The 1600 still works great, man. Still love that mower. It still gets work every single week. But it was fun to put it out there for you guys to use a comparison. Part of the reason why, Robert, why when I did the comparison video, why I chose to use the 1600 with the Revolution is because really in the price range, like what you can buy a pre-owned Greensmaster for 2,000, a good one for 2,000, 2,500, maybe a little bit more, in that ballpark. So comparing the Revolution to a GM 1600 is really more of a fair comparison from a price standpoint. Comparing, because some people ask, well, why didn't you compare it to the Owlet? Because they're really completely different systems. Like, I mean, comparing the Owlet to the Revolution is not really a fair comparison. One, because the C27 Evolution is like how much is the mower times? It's probably it's like 5 times the price just for the mower. And by the time you put all the cartridges in, it's even more than that. So it's not even in the same universe from a cost standpoint. And left by themselves, if you just take just the Revolution by itself and just the C27 by itself, the C27 is always going to produce a better result because it has the cartridges. You're able to turf rake and verticut and do all this other stuff with it. So it seemed more fair to me from both a price standpoint and also from just comparing a cutting system to compare the 1600 to the Revolution. So that's why I did it that way. So. And so hopefully you guys can understand why, my reasoning behind why I did it the way that I did it. But yeah, man, it reminds me of whenever I did a backpack sprayer video. It's just like the same kind of drama in the comments, same kind of hate. So yeah, man, buy what you want to buy. It's your money. Enjoy it. Cut with it. Make sure it's sharp. And away you go. All right, next up is Mike D. Mike D's in the house. He says, we got so much rain in Texas, I missed my mowing day. Well, that's better than how it was a month ago, right, Mike? I mean, you guys were complaining, saying, what did Texas do? And, we're in drought situations, and now you're getting rain. Y'all complaining too? So no rain, you complain. Rain, you complain. It sounds like, Mike, it sounds like you're too happy. That's what the problem is. That's what it sounds like to me. All right, so we have a question here on Instagram from the Backyard Dad, another one. He says, for pre-emergent, do you go off soil temp or just the temperature outside? Soil temperature. So if you're trying to be as accurate as possible, that Backyard Dad, you would you'd go by soil temperature. So a gauge like this, a soil temperature gauge or a meat thermometer, you stick this in the soil, measure the soil temperature. When the average soil temps are in the low 70s trending cooler, that's a good time to get your fall pre-emergent down. If you are doing it for the spring, when I like to do it, or when soil temps are in the high 40s, low 50s and trending warmer, that's when I get my pre-emergent down. I am a big fan of getting pre-emergent down a little bit early than late because it's better to be ahead of the curve to help prevent that germination so you're not fighting a bunch of weeds after the fact. You know what I mean? And as far as a timing goes, what I tend to do is the last week of August or the first week of September is when I do my fall pre-emergent. That's worked well for me based on where I live in the country. If you live somewhere else, you may have to alter that. And for the spring, late, sometimes as early as late January, but most of the time it's in the month of February is when I get my spring pre-emergent down. And again, the most correct answer is before average soil temps are in the mid 50s. I shoot for high 40s, low 50s to get mine down, and that's served me well as far as keeping weeds out of my lawn. But go and pick one of these guys up. You can find them on Amazon all over the place, and you can get there every day and measure. And for like after 2-3 days, 4 days, you have the same. If you have an average soil temp of in the 70s going cooler, then you can get your pre-emergent down. Or you can just do what I do and just apply it. If you're in Northeast Georgia anyway, apply it in late August, early September. It works just fine. All right, next up is Anna Duran. Anna Duran, she says, I sent an email last week of my grass. It looked like it was drying out or going dormant, like you guys say. So I didn't overseed yet. I want to this weekend, but not sure what steps to do. Did you get email? If you sent me an email, Anna, I don't have anything today. When did you email me? I have to go back and see if I can look for it. As far as your steps for overseeding, so I'm assuming you have a cool season lawn, Anna. And as far as how I would go about doing it is, you're going to want to thin the existing grass out some. I mean, I imagine you've got your lawn isn't super thick or you've got some bare spots, or otherwise you wouldn't be overseeding in the first place. But if there are some parts of the lawn that are a little bit thicker and you're trying to overseed the entire thing, You could use a turf rake and lightly, again, keyword here, lightly turf rake the lawn to help thin things out a little bit to get thatch get as much thatch as you can out of the lawn. Because the idea is you want to give the seed the best opportunity to have contact with the soil and also for sunlight and heat to get to the seed to help with germination. So what a lot of people like to do this time of year is they'll core aerate. They will, I don't want to use the word dethatch, but they will turf rake the lawn to thin things out a bit. They will, if you have a cool season lawn, some folks this time of year are top dressing, and then they'll lay their seed and water it and just wait, right? So if depending on which way you want to go, how much work you want to do, you could core aerate, you could fertilize, and use some kind of granular biostimulant like Essential G. If you want to do a top dress, you could do that, and then apply your grass seed, rake it in, water, and wait. So it just depends on how much, how much work you're looking to put in and what you're trying to accomplish, really. You know what I mean? Because not everybody has to overseed their lawn. I mean, it's a common thing that folks do in the springtime and in the fall when they have cool season lawns. But if your lawn is thick and looking good, there's not really a whole lot of reason to overseed it. Because here's why, right? If you choose to overseed your lawn in the fall, you are also making the decision to not use a pre-emergent. You're making the decision to not use like prodiamine, because if you do that, you're not going to get great germination. And if you don't use a pre-emergent in the fall, you are going to end up with more weed pressure in the late fall, early spring than if you did use a pre-emergent. So unless there's a reason for you to overseed, like you've got some problems areas in your lawn that you just know that they're not going to grow in, and and overseeding is going to be your way to get the lawn thicker. Unless that's the case, I wouldn't do it. I would like, given the choice, I would opt for keeping weeds out of my lawn than thickening up an already thick lawn. So I will look, Anna, to see if I can find your email. I don't recall, I don't see anything here at the top of my email for the live stream tonight. So I'll do a search at the end of the show and find it, and I'll answer your question. If you don't mind, forward it to me again. That was the top of my inbox. And when I get done with the show, I'll give you my thoughts on the situation. So thanks so much for the comment. I hope that gives you some ideas, some thoughts as far as what you can do for your seeding project. Okay. Next up, we have a super chat we got a couple of super chats. I'm going to run down here and grab those really quick. So we have one from Oliver. No, we already did Oliver's. We got another one here from LG. LG's in the house.
Super chat received.
With $2.34 super chat. I was what you went like 2, 3, 4 LG. He says, saw you mow with the GM. I did the same. Bye-bye, Allet. Okay, all right. So you put the Allet up, you took the GM out. I hear you. Here's the thing. Here, let me make this clear. Just because I mowed the back lawn with the Greensmaster does not mean the Allet is done. I mean, again, literally what you're seeing here, the Allet was run on the lawn, and I did my cleanup cut with the Greensmaster. But the stripe action, I'm going to have to give the stripe action to the Allet, because this would produce that. It's, the turf raking, getting all the stripes nice and defined, and then a cleanup cut with the GM is what put it over the top. But yeah, so don't think that the GM is now done. It's done for. No one likes the GM anymore. It's not. That's not the case. I still have both mowers. Still love both mowers. Still use both mowers. So thank you so much for the super chat, LG. And then next up, we have a super chat from Ted Rogers. Appreciate it, Ted.
Super chat received.
He says, Ron, my man, when should I cut back on my watering? Do I just water it longer every other day? It's gotten pretty thick and tall in most spaces. I'm on day 14 on the front lawn. Thanks as always. Yeah, so if you're on day 14, Ted, if you want to start reducing the watering, I would. I mean, the idea is once the lawn is germinated and it's growing in, I don't know if you sent me any pictures, but if the seed's germinated, it's growing in, you can start backing the watering down. I mean, don't stop altogether to where the lawn's gonna dry out. You can potentially lose some of your hard work, but there's no need to water it as heavy as you did as when you were just trying to get the lawn to germinate. No, you did. You sent me some pictures and you sent me a video. I'm slipping, Todd or Ted. What's going on, man? You got to keep me honest. All right, so here is a picture of what his lawn looks like 14 days later since the initial seeding work. So let's see if this loads up. So that's looking pretty good. You're definitely getting it to grow in. It's still, I mean, that's not what I would consider thick yet, but you can still definitely get some good germination. So keep watering it. That looks, that's looking solid, Ted. And then next, he shot a short video here, and put Let me put that up here really quick. So he says, need to overseed a few spots in 2 weeks, but I'm grateful. And overall, yeah, that looks solid, man. Looks good. Yeah, I would back the watering down. I mean, again, I wouldn't. You should still water heavier than you do when the lawn is fully established. But yeah, like if you wanted to go back to what's more of a normal watering schedule, if you're put it this way, Ted, if you're watering, let's say every day now, twice a day, if you wanted to go to watering every other day now with a slightly shorter cycle, I think that you'd be just fine doing that. Because also keep in mind too, like temperatures are getting cooler, so you're gonna get more out of any water you're putting down on the lawn, and it looks good, man. That looks, I gotta hand it to you. It's looking solid. Yeah, I wouldn't feel bad about backing off the watering a little bit on that. Yeah, nicely done. See, we've come a long way because you were all worried. I remember, was it last week or the week before when you got that heavy rain? You thought it was all washed out and it was done, and look, it grew in just fine, just like I was telling you that it would. So yes. Thank you so much for the super chat. Glad to see that your renovation project is going well. Feel free to back the watering down a bit, and then soon you'll be able to put a mower on it. Just think about that. That would be awesome, right? And guys, gals, if you guys are enjoying the show so far, we have 107 of you guys in the show at this moment in time, and only 52 likes. So if you guys wouldn't mind, hit that like button. It's absolutely free. It's a great way to support the channel. Costs you absolutely nothing. And I would really, really appreciate it. And I'll even put some Tango Bolero on for LG while I go to the next super chat and have a sip of my Arnold Palmer. Hit that like button. All right, I have another super chat here that I saw. I'll make sure I get it. It's Rocky Road Warrior. Cool. All right. All right, next up we have Rocky Road Warrior. He says, thank you so much.
Super chat received.
From Rocky Road Warrior, he says, should I overseed before winter, new home construction, and fertilize with new lawn starter, leaning towards certainty for high nutsedge and crabgrass? Okay, Rocky Road Warrior, so where is your lawn? Where are you based? Because the thing that's confusing about this is you're talking about seeding or overseeding your lawn, but then you're talking about using certainty. So if you have a new lawn, let's say it's a Bermuda lawn, if it's a brand new construction, I wouldn't overseed it this year. I just really wouldn't do that. If you have a cool season lawn, you're not going to want to use certainty on it, because while it is very good for nutsedge, it's also very good for cool season grasses. It'll kill your cool season grass. So I'm not sure exactly which way you're going. If it's a new lawn, new construction, long short of it is no. I would not overseed it. Even if it's a Bermuda lawn, if it's brand new, I wouldn't do that. Let the lawn get established, keep mowing it. And if you want to look at overseeding it next year, once the lawn's got a year under its belt and it's established, you're mowing it, you got your nutrient program under, all going and all things are good. If you want to look at it for 2024, I would feel better about that. But for a brand new lawn, like, why introduce another grass seed at this point? If it is Bermuda or St. Augustine or Zoysia, and you want to spot spray now with certainty to get rid of some nutsedge, that I'd be fine with. But if you have a cool season lawn, do not use this anywhere near a cool season lawn. It will injure and or kill it. So don't do that. So hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for the super chat, sir. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. It's a great question. But again, don't be too quick. I know. Here's the thing. I know a lot of you probably have a brand new lawn. You're all excited and you're looking to get out there and do something fun. And you see people on YouTube, be talking about overseeding their warm season lawns with perennial ryegrass to keep it green all throughout the winter. And yes, you can do that, but there are negatives. There are also some negatives to that they often don't tell you about come springtime, as far as having to get rid of it, so you don't have problems with your Bermuda. And given that you have a brand new lawn, like you said, it's new construction, new home, I just wouldn't do that this time of year. I wouldn't do it this year round. If you want to do it next year, next season, if you want to, again, once you've learned a lot more and you know what you're getting into, if you want to consider it for 2024, I'd be, go forth and conquer. But for a brand new lawn, I just wouldn't introduce ryegrass or any other grass seed this time of year. And if you're talking about a new Bermuda lawn, you wouldn't want to establish it from seed this time of year. It's too late in the season to do that. You're not going to get a great result unless you live, I'm not sure where you live, unless you live like in South Florida, like south of I-4, then it wouldn't be a great time to try and grow a Bermuda lawn from seed either. So long, short, If it's sod, leave it alone. Water it, mow it, fertilize it. And as far as your question, can you fertilize a lawn with a new lawn? Yes, you can. You can use that I can give you an option for. You can use a good starter fertilizer. A great option that I like and has been very well received. If you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, go to lawn fertilizer, and then look at the complete 14-7-14. Like, this is a great starter fertilizer, has a bit of everything in it. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, a bit of micronutrient. It's got some kelp, it's got some humic acid. Like I said, it's got a bit of everything to help a new lawn do well. That I would be good with. As far as overseeding, not this year. Well, let's hold off on that until next year. And here, to help you out where you can find that is, I'll give you a link directly to it on the store. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. You're very, very welcome. I saw you said thank you. You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. I'm trying to prevent you from creating a headache for yourself, because it's again, while a Bermuda lawn in the fall or in the winter and the early spring, it being green and when everyone else's lawn is dormant, looks cool. There are some negatives to doing that. And for a brand new lawn, I don't think you really just want to go down that road. I think you should let the lawn catch itself for a season, and then you can decide for yourself if you want to do that. All right, next up is Geek Girl. She says, pre-emergent for Southeast North Carolina CLT feels too soon, but I'm a newbie to lawn care. No, not really. I mean, in my neighborhood already, they're out. The trucks are already out rolling, putting down pre-emergent. So like the services that get paid to spray people's lawns for a living, I am not in the minority in getting mine down. They're out there spraying the lawns in my neighborhood. So no, I mean, if you're Southeast, you're in North Carolina, your weather's similar enough to ours. As a matter of fact, it's probably cooler where you are than where I am. So yeah, I would get your pre-emergent down. When it comes to pre-emergent, Geek Girl, the big thing is a bit early is better than late, because it's in the name, right? If you want the product, you want spectacle, you want prodiamine, you want it in the soil prior to the weeds emerging for best results. If you wait until weeds are starting to show up and then you put it down, you're kind of behind the curve. You're not going to get as good results with it. There's really not a whole lot of negatives to getting it down a week or two early versus a week or two late. So hope that helps. I would, if you're looking to get your pre-emergent down, I would absolutely do that. I wouldn't feel bad doing it here in mid-September, given that essentially you have the same climate as we do here in Northeast Georgia. So thank you so much for the comment. If you need anything else, let me know. Next up is Papa Mo's Low. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Had to revert to cutting with the rotary till the replacement part arrives for the Sterling. Man, it totally changes how the lawn looks, and not for the better. Yeah, so Papa Mo's Low, if I can find that. You did send me an email. I had it on my things to do before the show, but I didn't get to it, but I think I can find it really quick. So his Sterling is currently down. He sent me some pictures. I guess he had like a gear that broke or something that happened. And it's on the bench. He's under surgery. It's down. It's under the knife right now. So while his new parts show up and he gets it fixed, he's rotary mowing. And this is a picture that he sent me before the show, showing where the current state of his Sterling. So he's got it taken down. I'm sure it'll be up and running anytime soon. As soon as you get the parts there, Papa Mo's Low, keep us posted as far as how it does. Also want to share a picture from a viewer, Patrick. He is a member of the Golf Course Lawn Academy. He sent me some pictures of his lawn towards the end of the season. I mean, towards the end of the summer anyway. And lawn is looking fire. Absolutely gorgeous. You guys have seen pictures of his lawn before. He entered the strap action competition. And this is picture one. And look, here's the thing you got to look at, right? You look at the color of the lawn, and that looks incredible. But look to the left, like you can see how it compares to the lot that's to the left of him, and see how much nicer that is. Then another shot, a better angle. His stripe action is on point. Color looks amazing, and then the lawn in the background looks like an open space, not quite as good. Patrick, here's the thing that's kind of cool, man. You have to tell me there's like these things growing in the middle of your lawn. It's got mulch around them. It's like it's not grass. You have to tell me what that is. I mean, I've heard about like mulch beds and putting plants in the mulch beds, but I've just, I personally don't have that. So it's kind of interesting. It's nice to see it actually executed. And it does look good. I have to admit, it does look really nice. The tree's pruned up nice and tall too. So that's gonna, hopefully keep the grass around there living its best life, doing well. But the lawn looks awesome, man. Thank you so much for sending the pictures. I did tell you I was going to show them off tonight, so hopefully you guys are enjoy that as far as seeing what's possible with a lot of dedication, plenty of time, lots of mowing, and a good nutrient program. Lawn looks incredible, so keep doing what you're doing. Next up is Casey Baker. Casey Baker, he says, I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Is it safe to apply Celsius to Bermuda sod laid mid-April 2023 as I have some crabgrass I need to kill before the grass goes to sleep? Yes, no problem at all. I wouldn't have any concerns about using Celsius on sod that is April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, 5 months old. Yeah, wouldn't be a problem at all. And especially given the fact, Casey, is that you likely don't have crabgrass all throughout the lawn, so you're going to be spot spraying with it. So yeah, no issues with doing that at all whatsoever on Bermuda sod that's like 5 months old. The thing to keep in mind though is that crabgrass gets more and more difficult to control the more mature it gets. So if you're trying to spray out crabgrass this time of year, I would assume it's relatively mature. So just realize that if you're able to get rid of it with Celsius, that it's going to likely take more than one application to do that. You're going to want to apply at the higher rate, and yeah, just make sure that your expectations are in line given the time of the year and the growth phase of crabgrass this time of year. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with doing that. Make sure that you use a bit of surfactant along with it for best results. And yeah, keep us posted as far as how it does. Great question. If you need anything else, let me know. Yeah, man, good stuff. Sorry dealing with crabgrass, but congrats on the new lawn. So there's always a bright side, right? And when it comes to lawns, man, there's always something to fix. What's interesting is this year I changed up how I use Certainty for controlling sedges. Normally I wait for the sedges to get a little bit more mature and then spray them out with Certainty. This year, as soon as I saw them pop in, I went after them with that, and I produced a really good result. I know I'm talking about Certainty, and you're talking about Celsius, but the long and short of it is that I'm getting better results controlling a weed that normally I've had to spray a couple of times per year by getting it done early. So next year for you, Casey, to put a nice bow on all this is if you have crabgrass in your lawn in those areas next year, which you probably will, knock them out. Go after them earlier in the season. Don't wait till like now. And granted, I know it's a new lawn. You didn't have the lawn this time last year, but next year, if you're pre-emergent, if you have a bit of breakthrough from your spring pre-emergent, as soon as you see the crabgrass, go after it with quinclorac or some other post-emergent herbicide to get it under control. It's easier to kill when it's young versus when it's older. Next up is Ahmad Damra. Ahmad Damra is in the house. He says, what can I put on my lawn now? I have Bermuda Happy Friday. Yeah, Ahmad. So I'm not sure what part of the country you're in. On my lawn, I still have another fertilization that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be closing out the season with the Stress 12-0-24. I'm still spraying. I got one more spray of Primo on my lawn, and I am still spraying the Carbon Kit. So I can show you, without knowing where you are in the country, what I'm doing on my lawn this time of year. So my last granular fertilizer app is going to be this Stress 12-0-24. I'm going to be applying that at low rates. I'm going to be spraying the Golf Course Lawn Carbon Kit, which consists of Release 901C, NutriKelp, and BioSpectrum. And then finally, I'm going to be using Primo Max. So this one more granular app, and then I will likely do 2 more liquid apps. So I'll do one more. If I had to play it out, it's going to be a granular app beginning of October. I have another Primo and Carbon Kit app to do this month. And then the next application where I spray liquids, it'll just be the Carbon Kit. I won't do Primo Max in October. I'll just do just 901C, NutriKelp, and BioSpectrum. So there's still time in the year, again, depending on where you are in the country, there's still time to still feed the lawn. What I would just do is just back the rates down a bit. Like if you're still mowing it, you can still feed and you still fertilize the lawn. But really, once you get into October, and again, this is me just being conservative. Some people feed their lawns later in the season than I do. But once I get into October, I like to back off granular fertilizer applications, because part of why I do that is I'm trying to prevent problems with disease in the spring, in particular spring dead spot. So if you don't have an issue with that, or you don't care, you want to you want to continue to put granular apps down. As long as the lawn is still growing, you're still regularly mowing it, you can continue feeding it. I just like switching from granular to more of a liquid program starting in the middle of October versus continuing to do like granular October, granular in November, because I'm trying to keep spring dead spot out of my lawn in the spring. So that's why I do what I do. So hope that helps. There's still plenty of time to continue feeding your lawn. The short answer is if you're still mowing it, you can feed it. So hope that helps, sir. Next up is Anna Duran. Let me see. Let me actually make a note here for really quick about Ahmad's question real quick before I move on to the next question. The next question and or comment. All right. So next up we have 55. Next up is Anna Duran. She says, another question on overseeding. Can I use 2 different seed bags? I was given a bag, 2 different brands, but both Sun and Shade. I wouldn't, Anna. I would pick one or the other. I mean, I'll put it this way. I wouldn't do it. And the reason why is because I'm particular about how my lawn looks, right? Here's what you could run into. If you use 2 different grass seeds or 2 different, grass seeds from different blends, different brands, different manufacturers, what you can likely end up with is the lawn just looking kind of like a patchwork, right? To where you're going to have one area that is, option 1, seed bag 1, and then the other one is seed bag 2. Now, here's one way you could get around that. If the 2 different bags of grass seeds you have if one of the bags is enough to do the entire lawn, then and a couple things. If one bag is enough to do the entire lawn and putting down both bags is not going to exceed what the recommendations are as far as like the amount of pounds per 1,000 square feet. So there's a lot of caveats here. So one, if one bag is enough to do the entire lawn, and then in that case, if you used one grass seed across the entire lawn and then did the other one across the entire lawn, then technically it should be fairly even when it grows in. I personally still probably wouldn't do it. Because you also want to make sure that the amount of grass seed you're putting down is not too much. Like more is not better when it comes to grass seed. So for me, if you're asking what I would do, I'd pick one of them. Ideally, the more fresh one, the newer of the 2 batches, and apply that. That is what I would do, because if you mix different types of grass seed, you're going to get different appearances in your lawn. The only way to really get around that, like I said, is if the grass seed is enough, one bag's enough to do the entire lawn, to where you're basically overseeding the lawn twice, just with 2 different types of seed. And in that case, it can work out okay, as long as you're staying below the recommendations as far as how many pounds of grass seed per 1,000 square feet. You know what I mean? So hopefully that helps you with making your decision. I probably, again, wouldn't do it, but it's completely up to you. But I gave you some stuff to think about. All right, next up is a question that we have from Instagram from Rinsler. He says, just joined in. Have you mentioned when to start pre-emergent? I live in Ackworth, Georgia. So I've already done my pre-emergent, Rinsler. I'm a fan of getting pre-emergent down a bit earlier than later. So late August, early September, first week of September is a good window in the Northeast Georgia area, which you're not Northeast, but you're in North Georgia area to get your pre-emergent down. We're in mid-September. I would absolutely do it. I wouldn't wait. I mean, the lawn care services in my area are spraying pre-emergent already. I've already got mine down. The big thing you want to keep in mind when it comes to pre-emergent, a little bit early is better than late. So if you've already got some, I would actually go out and put it out this weekend if you want to. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't wait too much longer. You want it down, you want it watered in, you want it in the soil prior to the weeds emerging to get the best results. So hope that helps. Great question. And keep us posted as far as how your lawn does. When it comes to pre-emergent, again, a bit early, better than a little bit late. And if you're in North Georgia, the window is more than open now to get your pre-emergent down. Could you wait a little bit longer? Possibly, but why? Why chance it? Especially now that we're starting to get rain too. Like it can get watered in for free. So that's another thing, right? We're getting regular rain showers now. So apply it and do it the day before it's going to rain, and you get it watered in for free, for gratis, right? Which is always nice. So yes, I would get your pre-emergent down, sir. All right, next up we have Papa Mo's Low. He says, one more point. Got to test the Revolution 26 at the Turf Park. I'm impressed. Yeah, it's a great mower, man. Again, especially at the price point. It's a great mower. I really like it. You know, whenever Lee was trying out, like you guys will be the amount of work, the amount of phone calls, the amount of work that's gone into that mower, like the different revisions as far as even just the roller size and the roller weight and all this kind of stuff. Like he's tested a bunch of different things to come up with what is, I think, a great recipe. And yeah, so again, it did a great job on the slope on my lawn. Alex liked it on his lawn, and yeah, I think you guys, the people that get them, I think are going to really enjoy the mower. It's a great bit of kit. All right, next up is Timothy Smith. He says, "Hey Ron, thanks for being an awesome resource. I'm a Bermuda guy to the core, but man, oh man, my zoysia back is insane. My Georgia plan is to cut and send some comparison pics from front to back." Cool. Yeah, definitely do it, Timothy. I'd like to see that. I'd say zoysia looks, this time of year, looks incredible. Like at the turf part, in August timeframe, you know, Bermuda, it was looking a little bit leggy. It wasn't wasn't that awesome, but the zoysia was absolutely on fire. So I'm not surprised that this time of year your zoysia is looking really good, Timothy. By all means, send pictures if you want. You can send shots of the front, of the back. We can compare and contrast, and we can see how your zoysia lawn is looking. So yeah, feel free to send the pictures over, and I'll do my best to get them on the show. I'm looking here to see if I have any photos that I am missing from anyone. I don't think so. And then we got some photos from Lance F. Oh, nice. Yes, we got some pictures from I think you accidentally screenshot something else you didn't want to send me, Lance. We got some screenshots from Lance F showing his renovation work. This is actually really good. So take a look at someone that's doing this, taking this very, very seriously. So this is him doing the preparation. Yeah. So he's out there. I'm not sure if that's a Sunjo or not. It looks like a Sunjo. He's out there, you know, doing some turf raking, scarification, you know, cleaning up the lawn, thinning things out a bit. And then this is after he's done putting down, looks like some kind of compost, and also his maybe some peat moss and his grass seed. And you see my man is not messing around. He has his tape out. He got his hazard lines. Do not tread on this lawn. We got a renovation in progress. Really cool. Nicely done, Lance. Yeah, looks good, man. Keep us posted. So the next thing you have to do is next week, send us a picture of how it grows in, or how it's growing in, assuming that it started germinating by next week. Keep us posted as far as how it develops. All right, next up is Andrew Phillips. He says, "Hi, Ron and all. I had leftover granular prodiamine, and I dropped that over a week ago. Watered it in, and we also had rain. I want to not collect clippings when I cut, since I still see some granules on the lawn. My lawn is sick. Will I lose any of effectiveness if I collect the residual prodiamine on the lawn?" I mean, depends on how much it is. Andrew. I mean, I know your lawn, it's thick. It's THICCCCCCC thick, like it's thick like that. So I'm not surprised that you're having some challenges with a granular prodiamine getting past the canopy. If you can give it another week, you know, I mean, water it again, see if you can get more of it to get down into the soil profile before you start bagging your clippings again. Because yes, anything that you pick up is product that is not going in the soil. How much is it going to lose? How much effectiveness are you going to lose? It's hard to say. It depends on how much prodiamine you're actually getting up. You know what I mean? So in your case, given how thick your lawn is, you're someone that really should really stick to liquid pre-emergent applications. So like liquid prodiamine, so prodiamine in like the water dispersible granule, as if you decide to go with that, or spectacle, something in liquid form for your pre-emergent, because that's going to prevent this problem where you're putting the granules down and they're sitting on the top of the lawn, given how thick and dense your lawn is. So sorry you're dealing with that. The struggle is real, right? There's always something. You have a really thick lawn, an amazing lawn. Like you're just trading one problem for another problem. So which problem do you want to have, right? Okay, next up we have McNasty Motorsports. He says, "Happy Friday. I am choosing to refer to my armadillo friend as biological aeration." That's one way of looking at it. "He's poking 2 to 3 inch holes in the ground, and small tufts of grass are left. Annoying. He'll be dispatched soon." So once you find him, he's a goner. Is what you're saying, McNasty? I hear you. I hear you. It's not a fun thing. Next up is Mark Luna. He says, "Hello, Ron. Spectacle Flow, a Soloprin SC Pillar SC all on the way. I like it. Aiming for fungus, bug, and weed-free fall this winter. Enjoy the stream, everyone. Get your mow on." Very, very nice, Mark. You definitely went top shelf, sir. You know, Spectacle Flow as far as a fall pre-emergent, didn't get much better than that for warm season turf. A Soloprin SC, great insecticide, and Pillar SC, a great combination fungicide. So yeah, you're doing it exactly right. Doing it exactly right. I mean, what you did is exactly what I'm doing on my lawn. And again, Pillar is going to go down next month, October. The first application is going to go down at the beginning of October. So yeah, you went with the good stuff, man. Good on you. I like it. Next up is LG. He says, "Good evening, Mr. Ron." Being all formal. Here's the thing, LG. I'm not sure if I can detect the sarcasm or whatever in the thing. I don't know. You kind of hard to read sometimes. It's not a normal greeting for you. Makes you wonder if someone else has your keyboard. All right. Next is Timothy. He says, "The difference in Zoysia is green to the core. Also, the back is flat and the front Bermuda is on a real slope. True cut cutting the front and a Honda in the back." That is true. Zoysia does, at least like what's the one that Lee has at the turf park? The one that looks kind of like St. Augustine, the El Toro Zoysia, like it's green like to the base. So if you cut it shorter, it's not like Bermuda. If you cut Bermuda too short, you'll get some brown. You cut the green off of it. With El Toro Zoysia anyway, it's harder to do that. So yeah. Cool, Timothy. I'm not surprised that you're getting great results with your Zoysia lawn, again, especially this time of year. Next up is Shortgrass. He says, "Hey Ron, I sent you pics 3 weeks after verticutting. Happy Friday. Where are the pictures? You got to tell me. You got to send me the. Actually, I found it. Because at least in your subject line, you said 3 weeks after verticutting. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Ooh, okay, we got to get these on the show. Very nice. That's very, very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So 3 weeks after verticutting his lawn, and here's the thing, guys. After verticutting, you might take a slight hit to color in the lawn, but then 3 weeks later, take a look at Shortgrass's lawn. That color and the stripes are popping. So picture one, very nice, lovely color. Love the stripes, looking really good, nice and even. And then picture two is there, looking really good. So Exhibit A, Exhibit B, A, B. Both look really nice, incredible. Nice work, sir. Nicely done on the verticutting. Nice work on the lawn. Looks great. The color looks awesome, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. It looks incredible. Next up is Teddy T, where he just says, "Ron, Teddy." That crazy lawn guy says, "Yep, at that price point, I think it is way above the others." You talking about the Revolution? Yeah, I agree with you. Especially again at the price point, it punches well above its weight. Well above its weight. It's a great mower. And again, you know what it is? It's like the Yard Mastery backpack sprayer of mowers. Like you literally buy it, you don't have to do anything to it. You have to buy a roller for it, which is kind of a big deal. It's got the GX engine. It's easy to backlap. I mean, all the things that are kind of a pain at mowers at that price point, this one does not have, which is pretty cool. And it cuts great. There's also that too. That's the most important thing, is that it actually mows the lawn properly, and it does a pretty good job at that. McNasty's up next. He says, "Missed grub control during the spring. Oops." I can never pronounce this one. Imidacloprid went down a few days ago. Any thoughts on what else could be done? I would just stick with that. I mean, you already put down a insecticide. No, I mean, I would have told you to use a Celoprin, but I mean, you've already got an insecticide down. Just go roll with that. In other words, I wouldn't tell you to double up. You've already done what you what you can do. It sounds like you already had that, so you did exactly what you should have done. You know what I mean? Like the best time to apply the insecticide would have been a bit earlier in the season. The second best time is right now, which you did. So you did exactly the right thing. All right, let's up. That crazy long guy says, "I own the other two at that price point." Oh, so there you go. So there you go. So you should make a video of it. Like if you own like a McLean and a True Cut or whatever, you can go out and shoot a video. Once you get your Revolution, make a video of it. I will tell you, prepare for a bunch of flames and hatred in the comments. But if you wanna be that guy, by all means go for it. All right, next up is Teddy T. He says, Ron, any thoughts on molasses on warm season lawns? Want to combine it with humic and kelp. As always, much appreciated. I've heard of that, Teddy, as a way to help improve microbial activity, almost as like a an inexpensive way to do liquid dethatching. You know, that's the thing that people like to bill it as. I've never done it. I've never used it to be able to know how well it would work. But it's not. You would not be breaking new ground if you decided to do that. I mean, it's not a crazy thing to try. Most people that do that, again, it's the idea is to help increase the activity, microbial activity in the lawn. So it's not a bad thing. I've just never just used molasses on my lawn. I use, again, like the carbon kits, so like the kelp product, BioSpectrum, Release Zero, Release 901C. That's how I go about that. So give it a shot. Let's keep us posted as far as how it goes. You know, that's what I would say. All right, next up is a question. It's a good one. We have a question from Gracias11. He says, what is the best time to apply insecticide? Located in Central Texas, Bermuda grass. So I'm a fan of doing it at least once per year. Gracias11. So the time that I like to get my insecticide down, and the insecticide that I like to use is Acelepryn. Acelepryn, this is the liquid form, but it also comes in a granular. And I like to apply that in April timeframe. Early April is when I do my insecticide app. You can also do another one in August timeframe, so late July, early August. You can do another insecticide app, and that's it for the season. So you can do one in April, early April, and then another one in the August timeframe, like this time of year, like moving out of summer into the fall, and you're good to go. That is how I would do it when you're using it as a preventative. Now, obviously, if you have an insect problem in your lawn, you have grubs or armyworms in your lawn, you're going to spray right then, right? But if you're trying to prevent the problems, then April and then August, late July, August timeframe is a good time to use Acelepryn for that purpose. So hope that helps. Hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, let me know. And as far as where you can get Acelepryn, I will give you a link to that here because we carry that under shop and under fungicide and insecticide. And I'm not sure which one you have, so I'll just send you the liquid. How about that? I'll give you the liquid. But if you ever, whenever you go to this link, you'll be able to find the granular there as well. So you got both options. Whichever you prefer is the one you can go with. They both work great. Both work great. All right. Next up, we got a super chat from Anna. Let me get down here and grab that really quick. Thank you so much, Anna.
Super chat received.
She says, reset the email. Lawn is ugly. What can be done to fix it? I think I need an overseed and use tenacity. I have lots of weeds. Did you get the email? Yes, I got the email, but I can't, like I'm looking at it here, Anna, and it looks like you sent me, I need you to find the original email and forward it to me. It's like you forwarded like an attachment of that email is what I'm seeing. I can tell you what, I promise you I will answer your questions tonight. I'll go through my email and see if I can find the one that you sent from earlier, and then I will dig through it. But yeah, the one you just sent to me has, yeah, I'm looking here. Yeah, actually I found it. I can get these pictures up. Let's see if we can do that real quick. Let's see if I can help you out, Anna. Let's see if we can just save some time and we can roll through this now. Let's see here. All right. So I've got, she sent me like 4 pictures of the lawn, and there's like really one area. There's 2 areas that look a little bit bad. So I'll show you that really quick. So this is picture 1, which again, grass looks okay. That's nice and green. Another image, that looks okay to me too. Now I see one shot here that you sent, and what I'm seeing in this one, it looks just dry. If I'm being honest with you, Anna, I wouldn't be quick to call disease with that. It looks like whatever's going on there, that part of the lawn appears to be dry compared to other parts of the lawn. And then finally, you've got this, which it looks like lack of water. You know what I mean? I can't, again, just looking at the pictures here live, this area just looks really dry. I mean, I'm not sure what that dark area in the lawn is, that like streak you have through the lawn, that really dark spot. But if you look like in the background of this one, right? You see like towards the trees, that area that's near the tree that looks like it gets more shade. That's a little bit more shaded. So if you look at that picture, towards the far aspect of it, like the area that looks like it gets more shade from the trees, that the grass looks pretty good there. This area here that's brown discolored looks like it's just getting a lot of direct sunlight. And again, without I haven't read through your email, but without getting more context about something else it could be, it looks like just lack of water. It looks like it just looks really dry right now, is what I'm thinking. Happy to give it another look and read through your email after the show and give you some more thoughts on it. But just looking at this, especially since these are all taken on the same lawn, like that looks good to me. That looks pretty good, other than that one spot that's a little bit dry. And you've got some other, like this grass here. That looks really, the color of that looks good. There's nothing wrong with that. It looks solid. But these areas here look like lack of water. They look dry to me. Is what I would point to, which is kind of a good thing, right? Because I'm not sure when these pictures were taken, but if you took them a month ago, then as now that we're moving into the fall when temperatures are cooler, the grass should do better. One, I'd put some water on it, but also as the weather is less hot, and the cool grass that you have should do better than it did in the middle of summer heat. So hopefully that helps. Again, I will look through the pictures some more as after the show and give you my thoughts, but just initially giving a look at the pictures, it looks dry, because there's other areas where the grass looks great. And the thing that's interesting is the areas that appear to catch more shade because there's a tree nearby look better than the areas that are having lots of direct sunlight. So that's my assessment. Given a little bit of time I got to look at the pictures and we got to do that live. So hope that helps, gives you some guidance. I don't know that like especially in the areas where the grass is dry, I don't know that using tenacity and overseeding, unless you're certain the grass is completely dead and you're just trying to just get it to grow in there, is really going to do a whole lot. Because I didn't see many weeds, at least from that picture, in the area that was brown. It just looks, again, the grass just looks dry. It just looks like it just needs some water from what I'm seeing. Okay, so next up we have, hardest part, guys, is finding out where I left off once I scroll down for the super chats. All right, next up is Sean Murphy. I found it. Sean Murphy's up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. I will be doing some turf raking tomorrow here in Florida. When is the last time you turf rake for the year in Georgia?" I turf rake, like, for the most part, whenever I feel like it, year round, Sean. So if you've been following the channel for a while, I was turf raking in, like, when the lawn was dormant, mainly because I just like the way it makes the lawn look. It just stripes really nicely. I just raised the turf rake up a little bit. Not much debris, if anything, comes out in the wintertime when I'm doing it. But if you go back and look at my live streams from like December to like December last year, November, December, January of this year, I'm pretty sure I posted some videos showing the lawn where it's brown and the stripes. It looks just like this. It looks just like what you're seeing right now, but imagine it being brown. So you have like dark, light, but they're brown because the lawn is dormant. So I'm just that crazy person that when I want something to do, I just go out and I just turf rake the lawn. But as far as, whenever, I guess if you're asking when to shut it down, once the lawn goes dormant, you could. There's no reason to really do it unless you're just looking for something to do. But once the lawn goes dormant, there's not really any reason to turf rake it. And if you're going to do it when the lawn is dormant, I would raise it up. I would do it strictly for aesthetic reasons, not from a standpoint of removing a bunch of debris, because there really shouldn't be a whole lot of debris. The grass isn't growing. You're not cutting it that much. There's not really, the whole lot shouldn't come out. The only reason to really turf rake during the winter is that it just helps produce like the most gorgeous burnt in brown stripes you'll ever see. So that's why I do it, because I think it looks kind of cool. All right, so we have a question here from Instagram from Robert Rainey. He says, "Is that a new shirt? I'm not sure. I've seen this one. Sunlight Soil. Did you catch the new wedges I posted in the Golf Course Lawn Academy Facebook group page? Hashtag shop action." So this is not a new shirt. I just have not worn it in a while. So the shirt is a design from a couple years ago, actually, but it's Sunlight, Soil, and Stripe Action. It's got, if you notice the mower, it's the GM 1600. It's Greenmaster 1600. So that's what this is. It's got the logo, and yeah, this is the. You can actually get this on the store. So on our merch store, which if you want one, Robert, I think I still have the link somewhere. I can send it to you. and our merch store, which actually should be in the description of this video as well too, of the live stream. But the merch store is going to be right here. And if you want to represent, you should be able to get a sunlight, soil, and stripe action so you guys can see it. I think it's pretty clean, right? I mean, not bad. You know, I should get one. I should get one done for the Owlet. Get one with a True Cut. Get one with a Revolution 2600 just because it'll make everybody mad. You know, but yeah, it's this is not a new design. I just haven't worn this shirt in a while. If you look back some of my older live streams, I've worn this shirt before. I just don't wear it that often. All right, so next up is Sure Guy. He says, I'm in the Midwest and I just renovated my backyard with Kentucky bluegrass. Sounds like fun. Can I use PGR for next spring, summer, or should I wait for it to fully mature for a year from now? No, you can introduce a growth regulator, Sure Guy. I mean, granted, you just did the renovation, so I wouldn't use growth regulator on it this fall because you're trying to get it to grow, you're trying to get it established. But in the spring, if you wanted to introduce Primo, I would see no issue with doing that. The thing I would tell you is that if you're going to use Primo Max on your lawn next spring, is start low on the rates. So whatever the rate is for Kentucky bluegrass, I think it's 0.6 ounces. I believe it's 0.6 ounces per thousand. That's the monthly rate. I would take whatever that rate is and cut it in half. So in your case, it'd be like 0.3 ounces, and just start slow, and then ramp up to and ramp up the rate if you decide you want to do that. I get great results by taking the monthly rate, cutting that in half, and just spraying it every 2 weeks. If you're interested, there's a blog post I'll give you here, a link to here, that'll show you my strategy of how I like to use growth regulator. So if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to resources, go to blog, our carefully curated blog section. We got a new blog I got to tell you guys about here in a little bit. And you scroll down to, I think it's page 2, but it might even be page 3 now. Nope, page 2. Yep, this one, where it says how plant growth regulation can make your lawn thicker and greener. Again, it talks all about PGR, why you want to use them, why they're awesome, how they work. Has some video on how to use it. But then if you go down here to section 3, it talks about how to avoid the dreaded tip burn. And the way to do that really is to do split apps. So instead of applying it at the monthly rate for your grass type once, apply it every couple of weeks at half the rate. And to help out with that, I took the rates for the most common grass types, divide that in half, and I've given you like a little chart here or a little table that you can consult as far as the rate. So in your case, with you having Kentucky bluegrass lawn, yeah, 0.30 ounces per 1,000 square feet every 2 weeks is what I would do on your new lawn. You can absolutely do that next spring if you wish. So to help out, I will link this here in the chat for you so that you are all set, sir. You'll be all good to go. You're all good to go. Congrats on the renovation. Sounds like a fun project. And yeah, growth regulator is awesome stuff. There's life before Primo and there's life afterwards. You will really love the way your lawn looks using growth regulator on it. All right, next up is Neil White. He says, I'm in the Midwest and I just renovated. Nope, he says, that's wrong person. Neil White, he says, Ron, I live in the Atlanta area. The temps are starting to fall. Should I still be putting down fungicide on zoysia? Thanks. You say still. That makes me think you've been doing it regularly. So if you have a disease problem that you're trying to take care of, Neil, then yes. But if you're trying to put down fungicide as a preventative, I'm a fan of doing it in October, an application in October, and an application in November. Like, unless you have like a golf green, you shouldn't have to be applying fungicide every month on your lawn. So I guess your question is, with us going into the fall, should you apply a fall fungicide? Yes, I like to. I like to do it twice, once in October, once in November. But the still in your question is what's getting me thinking, like, is he like, how often is he doing it? Because he says, so I still be doing it. So as far as fungicide apps, I'm a fan of an app, of 2 apps in the spring, late spring, early summer. So May, June, and then October, November. That is when I apply fungicide in my lawn. So hopefully that helps you. That's what I'm gonna be doing on my lawn. You can decide whether you want to do that on your zoysia, but it is not too late to be doing fungicide on a zoysia lawn in the Atlanta area. So yeah. All right, next up is Bermuda Guy DIY. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. When are our last apps of granular and liquid first? Us in Northwest Georgia are seeing high 50s overnight next week. So my last granular application, Bermuda DIY Guy, is going to be the end of this month, early October. So October, I'm going to be doing an application of the 12024. That's going to be my last granular app. And I will spray liquids on that same day. And I might do a liquid app again in like mid-October. And that'll be it. So in other words, granular is what I shut down in the beginning of October. If you still want to spray liquids, I'm not really opposed to that. But granular, I would shut that down in October if you're trying to be super conservative about preventing spring dead spot. And if you want to continue to feed the lawn, given that you're not going to be putting out a granular fertilizer, then you can just use liquids for that purpose. You could use Turfplex, you could use the Golf Course Lawn Carbon Kit, and that would be just fine. So, great question. I like it. I like where your mind is on that. And yeah, I mean, because again, for me, I always try and caveat what I'm saying is because for me, the big thing for me is I don't want spring dead spot next year. So I try and back off the granular nitrogen inputs a bit earlier than you probably actually have to. You likely could go a little bit later than I do, but I want to shut it down earlier because last year I got great results. The year before I got good results doing that. Last year I got good results doing that. And each year in the spring, like the areas that I've had spring dead spot on my lawn have been getting progressively smaller and smaller. So I want to keep doing that. I'm like, it's working. So I want to stick with what's working is what I'm trying to say. So if that's not you, you might be even to apply later into the season. But if you're trying to be conservative, again, I would shut it down as far as granular inputs in the month of October. Good stuff. Great question, sir. All right. Next up, we have G Free in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, hashtag Stripe Action Gang. Happy Wet Friday. Yeah, man, it is raining. It is raining here in Georgia too. So wherever you are, G Free. So it looks like you're getting some of the rain that we're getting, which is always a good thing." Next up, Trevor Johnson says, "Happy Friday, Ron and all. Remind me, what should the average ground temps be to lay fall pre-emergent? We are pretty hot here in North Texas up through last week, so the time is coming soon, I'm sure. Thanks." Yes. So the most correct answer, Trevor, is when soil temps are in the low 70s trending cooler is a good time to put your pre-emergent down. A lot of the spring weeds, the fall weeds that we deal with begin germinating when soil temps are in the 60s. So you want your pre-emergent down prior to that. So I'm a fan of getting your pre-emergent down when the average soil temps in your area are in the low 70s and then trending cooler. So you can figure out what that is for you in Texas and then apply your pre-emergent accordingly. Just remember, when it comes to pre-emergent, the rule is a bit early is better than a bit late. So hope that helps. Mid to low 70s in the fall, and then before average soil temps are in the mid 50s in the springtime is what you're after. And again, in both cases, not when average soil temps are in the 50s, before average soil temps are in the 50s, because in the springtime that's when crabgrass starts to germinate. And in the fall, we're just trying to stay ahead of the dreaded Poa annua. So you want to get it down a little bit earlier if you can. So hope that helps, sir. Glad to hear you getting some cooler temps in Texas because for a while there, man, you guys were baking left and right. So glad to hear that things are getting a bit better for you from a temperature standpoint. All right. Next up, we have James Smith. James Smith is up next. He says, "On the latest videos of the new revolution in yours and Alex's lawn, thoughts? And did it look like it collected quite a bit of clippings on the deck?" Yeah, great. So my thoughts, James, kind of what I said in the video, like it cuts great. I mean, as far as on my sloped lawn on the front lawn, it climbs better than the Greensmaster. It climbs better than the True Cut. The thing in that video, if you notice, I mowed like the first part of the lawn that was sloped, and really the harder part where the lawn is even steeper, I didn't mow until after I gave the commentary that's in that video. So on that section, like when I resumed mowing like halfway through the video, that is when the Revolution, I was like, yeah, this is definitely better than my True Cut is. So it climbs better than the True Cut. Definitely better than the Greensmaster. And the outlet on the front slope is again, the only time I ever put the outlet on the front slope is when I'm verticutting or turf raking with it. I don't mow the front lawn with that mower on the front slope because it's just so big and heavy that it's just not, it's kind of almost unmanageable on the front slope. But it's the Revolution is better on a sloped lawn than my True Cut is, and it produces a better cut than my True Cut does, which you'd expect, right? Because it's got a rear drum propelling the mower, so the stripes are going to be better. It's got a nice heavy front roller. As far as the clippings on the front deck, I don't know. I mean, that didn't really stand out for me. When Alex mowed with it, he didn't really have that assessment either. I mean, I have to go back and look at the video. I have to go back and look at the video. That wasn't something that jumped out to me as far as, wow, there's a whole lot of grass clippings sitting on the front deck of this mower. So yeah, I mean, not any more than what collect on the deck of my Greensmaster. And my True Cut doesn't really have a deck like that, so there's not really any clippings on it. But my Greensmaster also gets grass clippings on it, so it didn't. If it happened, it didn't stand out to me as something that was like, oh wow, that's really abnormal. So, but I'll go back and look at the video after the stream. I'll go back and look at it, and I'll be like, yeah, that seems normal for it's, or if it's more than usual. So, yeah. So, but overall, like the mower. It's a great mower, especially for the price point in that category. I think it's really hard to beat. Not that there's anything wrong for any of you guys that are watching this. Like, you're gonna like downvoting the live stream because they're mad. But if you have a McLean, there's nothing wrong with that. You have a True Cut, nothing wrong with that. You have a trimmer, nothing wrong with any of those mowers. They all cut great if they're set up properly and they're nice and sharp. I'm just saying that if you were in the market right now where you had, between $2,000 to $3,000 to spend on a brand new mower, you'd be hard pressed to do better than the Revolution. The only thing you're going to be able to buy between the $2,000 to $3,000 price range that cuts better than that, in my opinion, is a Toro Greensmaster or a John Deere. You got to step up to the Kings of Cut. You know what I mean? So the Kings of Cut mowers, the Deere, Deere or the Greensmaster, which you can buy one of those pre-owned in that price range. That's what's going to cut better than the Revolution in my mind. But you want brand new, ain't nothing you can spend money on that's gonna do better than that, in my opinion. In my opinion, I am an expert on my opinion. All right, so next up we have Vermasson or Vermachon. Vermachon is up next. He says, I help cut grass at a local cemetery. My safety glasses keep fogging up. Any tips to prevent fogging? Perhaps even those hat earmuffs, face shield combos? Thanks. I don't have that problem, Vermasson. I mean, Vermachon, you might try a different set of glasses. Like the ones that I use they're not sealed. I mean, they're like safety glasses, but they're breathable. You know what I mean? Like they don't, like air can get in the top, they get in the bottom, and I don't have issues with fogging with them. So I'm not sure what to tell you on that one. I mean, I would say go to a different set of glasses. Maybe try something. I'll show you what I'm working with. They're nothing special. It's like this, just 3M safety glasses. They're like the red ones, because I like black and red, right? Bulldog colors. But yeah, they look. I mean, something along the lines like this, like these guys. Let me see if I can get a picture. Amazon says, "Oops, sorry, can't find that page." That's rare for Amazon. All right, let's see. Yeah. So something that looks, these are not the exact ones that I have, but they're similar. So something that looks like this is what I use, because they're breathable down here below. They're breathable on the sides and along on top. So I don't have any issues with these fogging up. So sorry, I'm not more help on this one. You could go to like a face shield type, like with the type of setup that you see people that sometimes that when they're running like a string trimmer or whatever and they're afraid of debris, like you could use something like that. Probably unnecessary. I mean, I think just try a different set of glasses, you know what I mean? Because let's just face it, you also want to look good when you're out there too. And these are frankly, these frankly are more stylish than these are. If you go black, you can go Terminator with Terminator glasses. These are more stylish than like the face shield thing. You know what I mean? So just something to keep in mind. You want to coordinate. You got to make sure you look good when you're out there on the lawn, cutting grass and string trimming and all this kind of stuff too. So something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind. I've not experienced that, so I can't tell you what I would change as far as glasses go. But if you can get something that's breathable, if you have like one of those like goggles where they kind of seal to your face, that is where you're more likely to have those types of problems. So get something that's a little bit more breathable. Try a different set of glasses. It's not that expensive to try them and see if that that helps the situation. Next up is James Serio. He says, I overwatered and have yellow spots on my zoysia. How to green it back up quick? I would just stop with the watering. So stop overwatering it and allow it and let time run its course. If you stop with the overwatering within a week, James, you should see a pretty nice improvement. I would not get out there and throw a big, heavy fertilizer application at it. If it's your time to feed the lawn, like if it's, we're at the middle of the month, if you're doing like what I do as far as my nutrient program where I spray liquids on the 15th, if it is your time to do that, then by all means go out there and spray your vintage of choice on the lawn. But I would not go heavy. I would not, get out there and do a special granular fertilizer app to try and get it to green up faster. I would not go super heavy with liquids. You've identified what was causing the problem. So by stopping the excess watering, that's going to help. It's going to allow the lawn to dry out, and that will help the color to come back. Because zoysia doesn't like a lot of water. Like whereas Bermuda, you can really, no grass likes being overwatered, but zoysia really doesn't like it. So if you can just cut back on the watering, just giving it time, it will recover. It'll recover, and then if it's your time to do your normal feeding, you can do that. But yeah, it's just really going to be a time thing. All right, next up is Salman Hussein. He says, "Hi Ron, I have some weeds on my zoysia. I only laid down Certainty, 3 small scoops in 2 gallons of water. It says per 1,000 square feet, but I spread it across 3,000 square feet using a handheld sprayer from Home Depot. Should I lay down another layer?" Okay, so it depends. So you under apply the product based on what you're saying, Salman. So it calls for that dilution rate per 1,000 square feet. You diluted it 3 times the rate. So I would look at the weeds that you were spraying. So if you're trying to take care of, say, sedges in your lawn, your zoysia, if the sedges are dying off, then you're good to go. If you're not getting a response, then I would do another application and do it at the correct rates. But I would give it time, because if you didn't say how much time has passed since you did this. So if you did it like say yesterday, I would still give it a little bit of time. Give it 2 weeks and see how the weeds you're targeting are responding. And then if you're not seeing any die off, you're not seeing it discolor, you could mix up another batch and this time spray it at the correct rates. 3 to 5 small scoops with 2 gallons of water is a great rate for knocking out sedges in your lawn. And if you do that, you're going to get a good result. So that's what I would do. I would give it a little bit of time and see if you get a response from what you've already done. And if not, then go back with another application. So hope that helps. And again, just, for future, I know you already know this. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but for future reference, definitely try and stick to the label rates. Here's the one thing as a compliment I'm going to give you as a good thing. At least you did it you did it the way that's less dangerous, right? There's some people that will go out and they'll take, the 1,000 square foot rate and go spray 200 square foot of lawn with it. You know what I mean? So you didn't over apply the product, but you under applied it, which just means you're not going to get a good result. So if I had to choose between the mistake to make, under application, at least for herbicide, better than over application, because you're not going to damage your lawn doing that. But you may not get the response as far as taking care of the weeds that you were after, given that you diluted it that much, because that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit low, especially. And I'm not sure how did you manage to get 2 gallons? 2 gallons over 3,000 square feet is doable, I guess. Yeah, I guess if you walk pretty fast, that is possible. But yeah, so just monitor it, and if need be, do another application, but not yet. Give it a week or 2 and see how if the lawn is if the weeds are beginning to die off, and then adjust accordingly. And then the second question is also, how often should I use Certainty? Really, as needed. It's not like Certainty should not be something. This should not be something that you're spraying in your lawn just because. One, because this stuff's expensive. It's not. The bottle of this stuff is $125 to $120. It's not cheap. That's thing one. And then second, even though it's safe for warm season grass like your zoysia, Signalocystine, your Bermuda, any kind of herbicide can give a little bit of stress to the grass. So why spray herbicide unless you absolutely need it? You know what I mean? As far as Certainty on my lawn, I I'm trying to think if I've ever blanket sprayed my lawn with this. I don't think so. I don't think I've ever blanket sprayed my entire lawn with Certainty. I have done it on the neighbor's lawn. I've done it on friends of mine that's asked me to come by and help them out because they've covered up in sedges all over the place. And in that case, that's a good candidate for blanket spraying. But for the most part with this product, you know, if your lawn's established and doing well, you may have a few problem areas here and there. And that's when you could just do some spot spraying. And that's why they give you, like, why the label calls for that rate. They say, you know, 2 gallons of water, which is enough for spot spraying on most normal size lawns. Like, that's a good amount of product to have mixed up for, you know, for spot spraying. So really as needed. If the sedges are under control, you know, once the sedges are dead, you take this, you put it back on the shelf, and then in the springtime, if you have some breakthrough with Poa annua, then this can come off the shelf. You can mix this at the higher rate because the rate for Poa is a bit higher, and then use it to control Poa in your lawn. So the thing I primarily use Certainty for, even though it can kill a lot of other stuff, are for sedges and for Poa annua. That you can do, again, it can do other types of weeds too. It'll do dandelions and that kind of thing. But why use something like this for dandelions? It's kind of overkill. So yeah, only as needed is the correct answer. Solomon, shouldn't be something you're doing monthly just because. All right, next up is James Smith. He says, why there are only 41 thumbs up tonight? Click it up, folks. Yeah, guys, so we have 103 people in the live stream, only 87 likes. This makes Ron a sad grass panda. Certainly you guys can do better than that. I'm gonna put the intermission music on for LG. I'm gonna take a sip of my lemonade. I'm gonna look over here to the folks on the gram and wave to them. And I'm gonna ask you guys, please, if you guys wouldn't mind, if you could find it in the soft spot in your heart, to hit the like button. It's absolutely free, costs absolutely nothing. It's a great way to support the channel and the content. I may as well enjoy my Arnold Palmer because tomorrow, now I got to go drink this half and half diet lemonade thing that's going to ruin me, James. All right. Next up, we have DeMarco Delgado. DeMarco Delgado. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Have you tried pre-emergent Pennant Magnum? When will it be the best time to apply in the spring or fall? I have not tried Pennant Magnum. That is a pre-emergent. I have not tried Marco. So I can't comment on that one. Can't comment on it. I believe, if memory serves me, Pennant Magnum has some control against sedges, I believe. Now, don't correct me on that. Some of you guys that are more versed in this than me may tell me I'm wrong on that. But I believe Pennant Magnum has is one of the few pre-emergents that has some control against sedges, whereas a lot of the other ones don't. But you know, I've not used it, I've not applied it, so I can't really speak to it. You know, maybe that's something to do for next year. Maybe I'll look into getting some Pennant Magnum and trying it out to see how it does. I know it's kind of like Spectacle in the sense that they are very proud of it. It's not an inexpensive product, but yeah, why not? You guys are worth it. You guys are worth it. I'll look into it, Marco. Sorry, I don't have an answer for you, but I will. I'll look into getting some Pennant and see how I can incorporate that into my lawn care program for maybe for next season. All right, next up is Daniel Robinson. He says, "Hi Ron, who do you currently use for maintenance on the GM 1600? Where can you go for repair?" Yeah, so for most of the times I've had the work done on the GM 1600, it's been Jerry Pate Company. So they have a pickup service, so they'll come pick up the mower. They will take it down to South Fulton. They do all their work. You know, they sharpen it. They grind it if it needs it. You know, they change the belts, put fresh oil in it, bring it back to me. It's all in great shape. So Jerry Pate Company is who you can go with. You can also go with Michael Hammond, Atlanta Reel Mower. He also, this year, he did the grind on it instead of Jerry Pate. So either one of those, but they both, it just depends on which one, how much time you have and which you prefer to go with. Jerry Pate's kind of cool in the sense that you don't have to worry about parts, right? Because they're an authorized Turo dealer. You take them over there, they'll be able to put genuine parts back on it if you care about that. And when you get it back, it's going to be perfect. You know what I mean? So if you go with any of the other, like some of the other services in the Atlanta area, not that there's anything wrong with them, but they may not stock parts for a Greensmaster. I can almost guarantee you they're not going to have parts for a Greensmaster. So you may have more downtime while they're ordering, you know, belts in or anything else they may need to work on it, to fix things that need service. But yeah, Jerry Pate and then Michael Hammond with Atlanta Real Mower are the ones that have touched my GM. So either one of those guys will do a great job. Jerry Pate has always done awesome work for me. So there you go. Next, we have Shortgrass Living, just saying he's blue in the face, covering eyes. All right. And then next is Carlos Bob. He says, Georgia, Bermuda. I like it. It's almost like in a world where grass grows tall. So he's kind of giving he's doing the establishing of the question. He's Georgia, Bermuda. I recently upgraded to a 25-inch McLean from a manual push reel, and I am seeing a height of cut differences going uphill versus a slight hill. Maybe I'm pushing down on the handles. No, not necessarily. I mean, so going, I think about this. When you go uphill, the mower, if you're going straight uphill, we'll use the My Soil test as our prop here. So let's say this is your slope, right? When you are mowing up the slope, if you mow directly, let's go like this. If you mow directly up the slope, what you'll find is the mower will tend to cut lower going uphill. And then when you're going down the slope, straight down, you'll find that it tends to cut a little bit higher on the downward passes. The way that I get around that is you split the difference. So instead of mowing straight up and down, which is not great for a lot of other reasons, just also from a safety standpoint, like the mower can get away from you if you're going downhill, depending on how steep the hill is. But I've found that what produces the best cut is to mow cross, to mow, like a diagonal pattern. If you have the time, another thing you can do too is you can mow the lawn lengthwise like this. That's still going to cause like a bit of a terracing effect because the part of the mower that is lower is going to cut slightly lower than the part that is higher. So, but if you have the time and you can cut lengthwise this way and then finish up with a diagonal cut, that produces the best cut on my front lawn. But you're cutting the lawn twice. You're double cutting it essentially, right? If you only have time to cut it once, then diagonal by far does the best job. Like the only uphill pass I make on my lawn when I'm cutting it is when I do my trim pass around the lawn. Like if you watch the video I released this week on the Revolution, you'll see I do my trim pass, and that's the only time I go directly straight uphill when I'm real mowing. Outside of that, it's diagonal. And what you'll find is that's going to produce a better cut because the weight of the mower is more evenly distributed when you're mowing diagonally versus if you're going straight uphill or straight downhill or even like lengthwise this way. So hope that helps. Give that a shot, Carlos, Bob. I think you'll find that if you mow diagonally, you'll get a better cut overall. And if you have the time, lengthwise and then finish up with a diagonal cut. In my case, I find produces the best cut on a slope lawn, but you are double cutting it, so it's like twice the time, right? So depends if you are about that double cut life or not. Something tells me you are. If you're on a Friday night watching, a live stream about lawn care, I think you are that guy, Carlos. So give it a shot. Report back to us next week and let us know how it does. Next up, we have Harper's Knitter is in the house. Says, thank you for helping with my emailed questions. We are having a drop next week and getting ready for pre-emergent. Cool season, temperatures 55 degrees is what I am watching for. Is that correct? Okay, cool season, yes. So the soil temperatures, the average soil temps of, no. This average soil temps of like in the low 70s trending cooler is what you're looking for. The 55 degree soil temp thing, Harper, is for springtime. So for the spring, 55, again, I like to go before that. Before average soil temps are in the mid 50s in the spring is when you want to get your spring pre-emergent down. And then for the fall, whenever soil temps are in the low 70s trending cooler, so like whenever you look at your average soil temps and it's like 72, 73, 74, get your pre-emergent down because the weeds that become a problem in the fall tend to germinate when temperatures get into the 60s. So we're trying to we want to have it in the soil prior to the conditions for the weeds to start germinating, occurs. You know what I'm saying? So we want to be ahead of that. So you are correct, 55 degrees is correct for the average soil temps for the spring. For the fall, low 70s for soil temp is what I like to do. I've gotten really good results. It's what I also teach in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, and the folks that I've given that advice to have gotten excellent results with their pre-emergent in the fall by doing that. So hope that helps. You're on point. You're good. You got your temperatures. Your temperature is correct. It's just for the wrong season. So low 70s is when I would get your fall pre-emergent down. Big Germ, not Small Germ, but Big Germ is up next. He says, Happy Friday. Can you share your predominant schedule for spring 24 in Georgia? 2 application dates for the first and second apps. I did Spectacle Flow this week, again in November, December. Thanks. So Big Germ, when it comes to my spring pre-emergent, I do one app. I do like one high rate application in the February timeframe. If you're going to do 2 applications and you want to use your entire annual allocation of prodiamine in the spring, what you could do is you could do an application. If you are somewhere in Georgia, you're in Georgia, you could do like a 0.40 per 1,000 square feet app in February-ish timeframe, and then you could do another one in late March, early April timeframe, and then that would take care of you for your prodiamine for your spring pre-emergent. I don't do that though. I do like when it comes to the spring pre-emergent, one app. I do like one heavy rate application in the spring, and that serves me very well. Up until this year in the fall, I did the same thing. I'd go at the higher end of the application rates and I do one app, and that's done well. This year I'm just changing it up where I'm doing Spectacle at low rates. I did it 2 weeks ago, and I'm gonna do another one in November, December. I am going to put a little bit of certainty in the tank along with that, because in case I'm getting any breakthrough, I kind of doubt I will, but in case I see any, I will. I'll have some certainty in there. They're just for some insurance. But yeah. So in the spring, one app is what I do in February timeframe. If you decide you want to do split apps, February and then late March, early April would be a good time to do that. And then Spectacle Flow, you already got it figured out. You did an application already now, and you can do another one in November, December. Sounds good, man. You are on your way. You're on your way to a weed-free lawn. All right, next up is T1000. He's smiley face. Okay, he says, Good Friday, everyone. Thanks, T1000. Appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream. And then next is Michael Cahoon. He says, let's see here. So Princess Cut Lawn Care said in a video, pros never use weed and feed. They never use weed and feed. Do you see any problem with this? P.S. Nothing but love and respect for him. Thank you, Ron. And have a great weekend. Yeah. So, do professionals? Will you ever see a lawn care service ever using weed and feed? Technically, no, but also technically they do sometimes, right? So they make their own weed and feed. So there are some services where they spray the lawn, spray like a herbicide. They'll also have some fertilizer in the tank as well too. But as far as like the traditional, like the granular stuff that you go buy at the big box stores, no. Like most services don't use that stuff because one, it's not cost effective. Like the cost of the stuff just doesn't make sense for them. And then you're asking if there's a place for weed and feed. I would say this. If you are, the only time I would do that would be for your spring pre-emergent application. So let's say, for example, you are, you want to do a pre-emergent app in the springtime, and you're also looking to get a little bit of fertilizer down at the same time. Like the first application of the season is where I could see using a project like that. Because technically, I mean, if you look at the golf cell that Yard Mastery sells, it technically is a weed and feed, right? So if you go to shop and then weed killer, and then you go to, where is it? Pre-emergent, right? And you see prodiamine, right? So this is primarily pre-emergent, but it's also got 7% potassium in it, right? With the dithiopyr, it's got 7% potassium in it. So it's technically is a weed and feed product. It's got fertilizer in it, and it's got it's the pre-emergent. So to say that you would never use a weed and feed product, to say the pros never do that, I would disagree with that, because the thing is the pros just kind of make their own. You know what I mean? They have access to the raw products. They have access to prodiamine. They have access to any liquid fertilizers they want. And they just mix all that up in the tank. They make their own concoctions, spray that on the lawn, and it's technically a weed and feed. What they don't do is use the stuff from the big box stores, because it just doesn't make, money-wise, just makes zero sense for them to do that. It's just it's for the prices they're able to buy their products for, that stuff doesn't fit. So I wouldn't say never. I would say that the only times when I would consider using a weed, I'm not using on my lawn, but when I would say for someone it would not be a bad idea to use a weed and feed product on your lawn, would be in the beginning of the season. So if you're doing your spring pre-emergent and you want to use a product that also has some fertilizer in it, not going to feel too bad about that. And I guess technically in the fall, you could also use a weed and feed in the fall as well. What you're not going to want to do is use weed and feed throughout the entire season. So that would be a mistake. You don't want to be, February, like March, April, May, June, July, like all throughout the entire growing season. Every time you fertilize the lawn, you're also putting out herbicide as well. Like that, I would not do. But as far as is there a place for it? Sure. I mean, for if your pre-emergent happens to have a little bit of fertilizer in it, I see no issue with that. So the times when you could use a weed and feed product would be beginning of the season, so spring pre-emergent, and then technically this time of year, fall pre-emergent, right? That would be a time to use a weed and feed product, and it'd be only twice. So once in the spring, once in the fall. Outside of that, I would use a dedicated herbicide for controlling weeds and dedicated fertilizer for feeding the lawn. I would decouple the two. I would separate them outside of a spring pre-emergent and a fall pre-emergent application. So hope that helps. I didn't see the video, so I don't know like the context around saying the pros never use weed and feed, because that's technically not right, because the pros, they just make their own. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I hope that helps. All right, next up is Bermuda Guy DIY Guy. He says, how does the Revolution stripe? Pretty good. I mean, did you not watch, Bermuda DIY Guy, do you not watch my channel? There's literally a video that came out this week showing how it stripes. I think it stripes quite well. I think it stripes well. I mean, it doesn't stripe like the Owlet stripes, but then nothing stripes like the Owlet stripes. It stripes, it does a good job. I mean, the Greensmaster probably stripes a little bit better than the Revolution because it's a heavier mower, but but as far as the True Cut or the True Cut, in other words, the mowers in its price point, it stripes better than those. It stripes better than a True Cut will because of the rear drum. It does better than a McLean will, again, because of the propulsion system. So the thing that helps the Revolution stripe better is not so much that there's something magical about it. It's that the propulsion is propelled by a rear drum. So instead of just the grass is getting rolled by just the front roller and then maybe a couple of the drive wheels, now you have the entire, all the grass in that pass is getting rolled over by the front roller, and then the rear drum, which is carrying most of the weight of the mower, is also rolling over the same grass again. So it's getting rolled twice, which is why the stripes tend to be better. And then, but the Greensmaster and the Owlet by far is the best striping mower I have because it's just so heavy. It's the weight is what really does it. And if you've not seen the video on the Revolution as far as how it stripes, I will link that and I'll put that in the chat for you right now. Bermuda Guy DIY, right here. And yeah, so there it is. That's the video, and I can't play. I could probably play some of it here. I can do some of that for you guys. Let's see. I'm not logged in on YouTube with this one, so we might get an ad. Yep. So I'll let this ad play, and then you can actually see for yourself a little bit of it striping. If you're like, I don't want to go watch it. So this is the video, so you can actually see how it does. Can I speed this up? Let's do 1.75. Yeah, so you can see how it stripes for yourself. So I think pretty good. So we just go through this. That is almost done, and you can see the stripe action looks pretty good. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. If you go through the other side of the lawn, so here, what you're looking at right here, the two stripes to the left, so these ones I'm talking here in the video, like that was done. These stripes you're seeing right here were done with the Revolution, and then these stripes now are being done with the Greensmaster 1600. So watch the video and you can decide for yourself which one stripes better. I have my opinions on it, but I left it up to you guys. You guys can decide for yourself which one does a better job. I'll tell you, you're not going to be unhappy with it. If you have a True Cut, a McLean, a trimmer, and you get a Revolution, you're not going to be unhappy with the way it stripes. It stripes better than all those mowers. So, all right. Next up is Thomas Hanan. He says, hello all. All pavement all around my house is very rough. Can the Revolution 26 rubber rear roller handle that well? My Owlet C24 rear roller is metal, and I don't run over it on the cement around here. It should be just fine. And here's the thing, guys. Even with the Greensmaster, even with those mowers that have like the solid metal drums, it makes a terrible sound when it's rolling on it. But I actually started looking into this. I have yet to find anybody that has actually had like damage or where the mower became unusable because they were running like the metal drum on concrete. So I would not worry about it, Thomas, as far as the Revolution running on your concrete or the rough, the pavement of on your driveway, whatever you have. I wouldn't be concerned about that. It should be just fine. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. It should be okay. It should not be a problem at all. All right, next up is Luke Destine. He says, "Hi, what's going on, Lukener? If you're new, welcome. I don't think I've ever seen your name before. So if you are new to the live stream, welcome to the show. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the chat, and I will get to them as soon as I can. All right, let me get down here and get to a super chat. I think I missed one here. This is from James Smith.
Super chat received.
He sent a resource photo. Thoughts on what to address, tool to add or upgrade. So you sent a resource photo. Okay, so you sent a resource photo. I'll have to look for that. And then we have another super chat, one from Harper's Knitter saying,
Super chat received.
Thanks, Ron. So you sent me a picture, James, of a lawn tool. Oh, let's see. Oh, so you're trying to say you want an opinion of what else should you get. Let's see here. Let's see if we can help James out. What is he talking about? So he has, James, you gotta send me a bigger picture, man. Okay, so you have a broom, good for top dressing, and you got a leveling rake, good for top dressing. You got overall, you're looking pretty solid, man. I mean, you got an edging tool, a manual edging tool. So here's the thing, James. I guess you are more of a manual tool type guy. You got like the manual, like the stick edger versus a power tool. So if you are sticking with, James powered tools where James supplies the horsepower, you're looking pretty good. You know what I mean? Now, outside of this, if you wanted to, if you're going to go to power tool, then that becomes the universe opens up to you. You can get a string trimmer, you can get a stick edger, you can get the rotary scissors, you can get a blower. Those are always handy to have. You got a lot of different things you can add to this, but just based on what I'm seeing here, you look like a guy that you're doing a lot of, like you're supplying the power to take care of the lawn. And if that's the case, you're pretty well covered. You know what? One thing you might need to as well. I don't see a pro plugger in here. If you ever have a need to transfer plugs in your lawn, having a pro plugger would be a useful bit of kit to have. If you don't need one, you don't need one. But that's the only other thing I could see that is powered by you that you don't have. That'd be a handy tool. Overall, you're in pretty good shape, man. I don't think you necessarily need to go buy anything else unless you're just looking to spend some money. All right, next up we got Recon, Rhythm, Noise, and Industrial Music. Great name, by the way. He says, how long does it take a newly grown hybrid Bermuda lawn from seed to get rid of rust? I grew a nice lawn from seed when it was really hot in Georgia in August, reseeded, then overwatered at night, causing rust. So there you got the answer to your question. The answer to your question is in the question, Recon. Stop the excess watering, and in most cases, the lawn will recover on its own. You can use a fungicide. You could use Pillar, you could use Headway. There's lots of different fungicides you could use, but for that particular problem, if you just reduce the watering, it's a problem that kind of goes away on its own by itself. So I wouldn't be too quick to go out and apply a fungicide. A week or so of normal watering, a normal watering schedule, you should see a pretty good improvement in the lawn. So just reduce the watering. That's going to help with the rust problem in your lawn. So yeah. And you're saying, how long does it take to recover after treatment? So it sounds like you already put a fungicide down. Again, just give it time. Remember, whenever you apply a fungicide does not like reverse the existing damage. It prevents it from getting worse and then allows the lawn over time to heal from it. So over the next week or two, you should see an improvement in the lawn, assuming that you're backing off on the watering, because too much water will cause issues in the lawn. So yeah, just I would back off on the amount of water you're putting on the lawn, and that combined with the fungicide you've already applied will improve the problem. But it's just going to be time. Like most things when it comes to grass, it's just time, man. There's not really there's not an easy button. There's not a you press a button and then the problem goes away and it's back to normal. So yeah. I'm trying to think. What's the only thing, like what's one of the fastest things you can do in a lawn that works quickly? Probably insecticide. Like if you have like armyworms and you go out and you spray an insecticide like that, it'll take care of them like that. If you have grubs and you go and spray an insecticide, within a few days, you'll start seeing like dead grubs like starting all over the place. So insecticides works pretty quickly, but everything else, herbicide takes time. If you're using a selective one, if you're using, fungicide, it's a time thing. Fertilizer, it's a time thing. Liquid fertilizer, that's also fast too. So if you want to see, like as far as something you can apply and then see a response in a couple of days, liquid fertilizer will also do that. So I'd say insecticide and liquid fertilizer, those are ones where you can see like it looked this way before, and it looks, within a couple of days you can notice a visual improvement. But in your case, it's just going to be a time thing, just a time thing. So yeah, hope that helps, sir. And then next up is Ted. He says, I got lucky with the washout. Well, Ted, sometimes in life, man, it's better to be lucky than good. Better to be lucky than good, right? And next up, I said, yes, you did. I did. You were worried, man. I'm telling you, I had to talk you off the cliff. You're like saying, it's all done. I wasted all my time. It's not going to happen. I said, man, just give it time. It's going to be fine. Like this. That's another thing too, guys. Questions I've been getting around pre-emergent. Like a common thing has been, I applied pre-emergent and it rained. Did all my pre-emergent get washed out? Did I have a bunch of wash off? And guys, in like 95% of the cases, no. Unless you go out and you apply your pre-emergent and you get 6 inches of rain. If you put a granular pre-emergent down, you get like 6 inches of rain, and you happen to live on a sloped lawn. In that case, yes, you may lose some of the pre-emergent and from washout. But rain is a good thing. Like you go out and you apply fertilizer and it rains, you get like a nice heavy rain. Good thing. Helps wash it down in the soil profile where it can work. You apply a pre-emergent, get a nice heavy rain. Good thing. Helps get it in the soil profile where it can work. You know what I mean? For most of you guys, the idea of washout, or of herbicide or fertilizer, or in Ted's case, even grass seed, is you're making a mountain into a molehill into a mountain. In most cases, unless you got like a really, really sloped lawn, then you may have some cause for concern, but most of you guys don't have that. So no worries there. So next up, Ted says, do I put down my 14-7-14 when I cut? Yeah. Once you start to, if you've not fed the lawn yet, since you did the planted the original grass seed, you can do that now if you want to, or if you want to wait till you start mowing it and then start fertilizing it, that's fine too. Either way, Ted, I would have applied the fertilizer as part of putting the seed down at that time. If you have already applied a fertilizer, like you did, like whenever you did the grass seed, you applied a fertilizer, then I would wait until you are starting to mow the lawn or a month has gone by, whichever happens first. And then you can use the 14-7-14 on the lawn. Next up is Gerard. No, actually, it's Jared. I remember you from last week. See, I'm getting better. I remember you from last week. I said Gerard, but he says Jared, man. My parents try to get creative. Jared George from last week. I remembered. He says, I want to change my backyard to hybrid. Sod isn't an option for me. Can hybrid plugs outcompete common Bermuda? Should I kill the common first? Yes. When's the best time to start plugging an 800 square foot lawn? Yes, if you're going to go the route of trying to convert a common lawn to hybrid, I would kill the existing lawn off. I would absolutely get rid of the existing common. It may take a couple of rounds to make that happen. Pretty much, Jared, the only one and done formulation that I have found for Bermuda grass is if you take glyphosate. So take like a concentrated glyphosate product like Eraser, that's like a 41% glyphosate or higher, and then pair that with Fusilade. That combination, Fusilade and glyphosate, is very good against Bermuda grass. I mean, that's been the only combination I've ever seen that's like a one and done as far as getting rid of Bermuda. If you decide to go that route, you would kill off your existing lawn. You can rake out the dead grass or what's left over. It just out of an abundance of caution, I might give it a couple of weeks to see if there's any that breaks through. You shouldn't have a whole lot, but if any more breaks through, then you could spray again. And then if you could go the plug route. But just keep in mind, it's gonna be slow going. If you decide to go to grow a Bermuda lawn from plugs, a hybrid lawn from plugs, it's gonna take a while. I mean, the thing is, with 800 square feet, like that much sod is not terribly expensive. Shouldn't be that much money. So I mean, I'd almost try and convince you to go down that route. You know what I mean? And plus, when it comes to sods, you've got, your Tiff Tough, your Tiff Green, your Tahoma 31. You got a lot of really nice sod options. And given that you're dealing with 800 square feet, it shouldn't break the bank too much to go that route. But to answer your question, I would not take the approach of introducing the hybrid to the common with the hopes that the hybrid is going to outcompete the common. It's just, it might in some areas, but to say that the common's going to be erased and it's going to become all hybrid, very unlikely to happen. Your best bet, get rid of the existing grass and then put down whatever grass you decide you want to go with, whether it be from sod or plugs or seed, whichever way you want to go. But yeah, I would absolutely get rid of the grass you have now if you don't like it and you want to go to something else. James is back. He says, I've been checking for a few spots about 2 to 3 days in the North Carolina RDU. Soil tends to be holding at 87, 88 degrees. Cool. Yeah, so you got a little more time. And again, I'm probably a bit early, but it has worked well. It's worked well for me. A bit early is not gonna hurt anything, especially if using Spectacle, because that stuff, 6 months, of residual easily is what you get out of it. So, all right, next up is T1000. He says, hey Ron, I overseeded with Yukon Bermuda last spring. Would you advise pre-emergent this fall? It rained in Texas. Actually, you know what? We're gonna say it rained in Texas. Okay, so you overseeded a lawn. So you did it last spring. Yeah, would you do pre? Yes, I would. If you established a lawn last spring, so like last year, and you want to do pre-emergent this year, yeah, absolutely. Yep, by all means, go for it. No problem at all. Get your pre-emergent down. Keep the weeds out of your lawn this fall and into the springtime. Yep, no worries with that. And Jared says, yeah, my lawn is currently common Bermuda. Yeah, it still holds. If you have common and you don't like the common, you want to get hybrid, get rid of the common. And again, although fusilade and glyphosate is, again, that for me on my hybrid lawn where it's gotten into the beds, like that's been a one and done for me. It's still holding so far. For your common, spray, try that combination and then see what you get. And if you want to be ultra conservative, give it a couple of weeks after the lawn has died off to see if you get any new grass breaking through and spray again. And then you're good to go as far as putting down whatever sod you want to, or in your case, plugging it or whatever you decide which way you want to go. If you want to see that video, it's one that I did on keeping Bermuda out of mulch beds, but it can also, the same combination can be used for a non-selective renovation where you're trying to kill off the existing lawn and then bring in new grass. So if you're interested in that, Jared, this is the video here. Nope, that's not Jared. This is Jared. That one there, that video will show you the combination that I used with great results. All right, next up is Rocky Road Warrior. Actually, no, it's not a question. He's just saying where he is. Next up is Jordan Godman. He says, hey Ron, sedge won't go away and certainty is a little expensive. Are there any smaller batches that I can get? No, not at this time, Jordan. So certainty currently only comes in 1.2 ounces, 1.25 ounces. If you look at the size of the bottle, it's fairly small. I mean, this is, 1.25 ounces. That's how big it is. And this little amount is enough for an acre. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit goes a long way. Your other options are you could go with Sedgehammer. That's a bit less expensive. You can get that. And you can also, and Sedgehammer is also available in like individual packets. It's not as good as Certainty, in my opinion. But if you're looking for something that's a little less expensive, you can go that route. So if you were to go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, and then go to Weed Killer. Oh, I think it's going to be on the second page. You got Sedgehammer here if you want more of the product. And then for individual use, you've got, I think on page 2, you've got this. This is basically generic Sedgehammer, and it's in an individual use packet. So if you want like a single use packet, you could go with that. Again, if it were me, I would spring for either. I would go with Certainty. If you have a warm season lawn, I would go with with certainty. Sedgehammer, I would really use this only if I have a cool season lawn, or if I guess I mean budget wise, yes, this is less expensive. But the thing is that to keep in mind is that certainty is not only good for sedges. You know what I mean? The thing that it also controls is Poanua, which is very difficult for us to. It's a difficult weed to control in any grass type, but in warm season grass, we're fortunate to have a selective herbicide that will nuke Poanua and not damage your grass. So for that reason, I'm a fan of certainty as well. But if you want the generic Sedgehammer, I will give you a link here. This is like an individual use packet. It's going to be your least expensive way of going after sedges. And so as far as the way I would say go for certainty, and then I would certainty by far, but then this would be another option if you if certainty is too expensive. All right, and I hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, let me know. And I sent you the link there in the chat, so you should be all squared away. All right, next up is Colin Potter. He says, thanks, Ron. I appreciate the confirmation and analysis, and have a great weekend. My soil test has been great. Yeah, I like them, man, for the very reason that, what you just showed, being able to have the test from earlier in the year and the one from now, and being able to compare that trend over time easily, not having to remember I put that soil test and find the piece of paper and kind of hold up and see, is this one higher or is that one lower? You literally have got them laid on top of each other, is pretty sweet. So for that reason alone, I think that these are worth going with. Plus they're easy to use, easy to read, come with recommendations, all that fun jazz. All right, Jared, here's the thing. Jared, I keep trying to say Gerard, even though I know it's Jared. He says, should I skip pre-emergent in the early spring for plugs? Is that only for seed? It's mainly for seed. It is for seed. But yeah, it's mainly a seed thing. You should be okay if you're, as long as the plugs you're putting in, they're good sized plugs, they have a good root zone with them, you should be okay. If you're trying to be ultra conservative, you could skip pre-emergent, but for plugs, you should be just fine. Again, I would personally try and push you towards sod, because again, it's 800 square feet. That's not a really huge lawn. And frankly, there's a lot of cool options for sod, right? Because think about it this way. So if you decide you're going to go the plug route, where are you going to get the plugs from? Are you going to, I guess you could probably buy Tahoma 31 in plugs. I haven't seen it that way, but you can probably buy it that way. You're going to get like Tiff Green in plugs, Tivway 419 in plugs. I guess you could maybe find that, but I've not seen many places that not around here anyway, that sell it by the plug. They tend to sell the sod. So as far as options, going with sod gives you, you can go and look at the different types of Bermuda, and you can figure out which one is the right one for you. So again, for 800 square feet, I would really try and push you towards sod if I can. If I can talk you into sod, that's the way I would go. Because I think you're going to be happier with it. It's going to be fat. It's going to look better. You're going to go from like no lawn to lawn. Case in point, like the neighbors across the street, like you guys have been watching some of the content. You guys know they're putting a big retaining wall in and doing all this renovation work. Like they're pretty much done with that, and they're putting in sod now. And literally, it's the coolest thing to watch. Like it was all like bare dirt, and as they put the sod in, it goes from literally like dirt and looking like a dirt lot to sod. They have to go from like no lawn to lawn just like that, which is kind of cool. So for those reasons, I would really try and push you towards sod if I can, Jared. Mr. Unknown says, hello, Ron. Hello, Mr. Unknown. How are you? Next up is LG. He says, Papa Mo's Low, what issue was it with the Sterling? I have issues with my rear drum not wanting to move. Replacement mower is on the way. I think what he told me was there's a cog, one of the gears broke, is what he said. LG, I think that is right. That's what he told me. I believe so. I believe that's what he said. So yeah, he can correct me at a later point, but I believe that's what he told me the issue was when he emailed me. So one of the gears, I think it's one of the idler gears or whatever, broke. So he's getting a replacement gear. And let me see, Lance F sent some more renovation pictures. Oh, these are cool, man. So here's the thing, Lance, is the first one the before? Because I'm trying to, it was just the after. Okay, I want to, hopefully this is the after, man, because I would not have renovated that long. Okay, guys, so you guys want to see like Lance sent me some cool pictures of the entire renovation project. I know you guys like that kind of stuff, so I will show you here really quick. Let's see if I can load all these pictures up. See if we'll be able to make it work. Let's see. All right, so that is picture, like the first picture you sent me, which I think looks awesome. So if that's how your lawn looked, then I would not have renovated. If it's how it looks after the renovation, good job. But that looks like he's killing it off. This is him, looks like he's spreading soil or peat moss. He's out here turf raking or scarifying. Yeah, he's out leveling it, doing some leveling work. Yeah, man. And then, yeah, that's like leveling in progress and more leveling in progress and seed put down and more seed put down as roped off. I think that's what it is. I think you went from that. I think Lance went from that to this. I think he went from that lawn, from that look to, where is it? To this one, which, if I can get to load, to that. I think he went from that to that. So from this to this. So I'm guessing you just wanted it to be smoother, Lance? Because again, man, that looks pretty good to me, man. I don't know if I would have done that. I mean, I do see some you know what? I do see some discoloration. I think you were the one that were telling me last week you had differences in color in the lawn, and that's why you want to do it. I think that's what it was. Yeah, because looking at the pictures here, guys, you can see some dark splotches, and I think Lance was the one that was telling us about that. So that's maybe why he killed that off and turned it into that. So cool. Either way, man, keep us posted as far as how it develops. Looks like you did it all right. You killed it off the lawn. You took the opportunity to do a leveling job while you're at it, and it looks like it's all prepped and did everything else right. So keep us posted as far as how it does. Okay, next up we have Mr. Unknown. He says, "What seed do you recommend since Arden 15 is darn near impossible to get?" I don't right now. There's not really one that I would recommend. There's people that are using Yukon, that are using Monaco, and they like the way that looks, but I don't have any direct experience with either of those, so I don't really feel comfortable recommending them, because once you put Bermuda grass seed down, it's pretty much, you got it. Like, you kind of pretty much stuck with it. So I don't really have one, Mr. Unknown. To my knowledge, there hasn't been a replacement done as yet for Arden 15. So I don't have anything that I can recommend to you. So sorry about that. And as far as near impossible to get, it should be impossible to get. Like, anyone that's selling Arden 15 now is likely like some old stuff they had laying around, because to my knowledge, they're not making it. It's not being produced anymore. Not unless they start it up again, but I haven't heard anything like that. James Smith is up. He says, "Not that I plan to, but wondering if anyone were to put rye on Bermuda sod in the Georgia, North Carolina belt area, could they do any leveling, soil 3 level mix, or just hang out till next summer to do it?" Yeah, so if you're planning on doing a rye overseed, James, that's a good question. That's a good question. Let me think about that. If you have a Bermuda lawn you're trying to oversee with ryegrass, yeah. I mean, you could core aerate, you could do a light leveling, because you're gonna be putting ryegrass down. If you're just gonna top dress a Bermuda lawn this time of year, I would not do that. But if you're doing an overseed, then yeah, sure. I don't see why that would be a problem. Key thing is to go light. And James Smith is up next. Is follow up on at KC Baker Talk. Your early jump on Nuts Edge or crabgrass spot spray or a hand wipe treatment. I spot spray. So whenever I spray, James, I use I mix up a couple gallons in my backpack sprayer, and I just walk around and I spot spray my lawn in little areas. If I see something in Alex's lawn, I'll spot spray his areas. I mean, there's normally enough sedges around between both of our lawns to easily use up 2 gallons of product. All right. Next up we have Rich 70V. He says, "Thank God it's Friday." Yeah, man. Thank God it's Friday. It's a good weekend, man. Here's the thing, guys. This weekend you have the opportunity to get out and mow your lawn. That's always awesome. Formula One is back. That's good. And if you're also someone that follows football, it's football, right? So you got a lot going on in the fall right now, which is kind of cool. And we have a super chat from Rich V. Rich, I don't know if I got your super chat, man. If I did not, I apologize.
Super chat received.
I don't remember doing yours. So if I didn't do it, I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you for the super chat. Next up is Will Covey. He says, if I put down 10 pounds of urea nitrogen on 10,000 square feet of tall fescue a week ago, can I overseed it and top dress it during the nitrogen blitz? Temps dropped to the right range for seeding earlier. I guess, Will, I mean, so you did a pound, a pound per thousand. Yeah, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to. If you wanted to, if you want to do an overseed and a top dress this time of year, I'm assuming you got cool season grass. Yeah. I don't off the top of my head see any reason why that would be an issue. Don't see that would be a problem. All right, Harper's Knitter is up next. She says, I have a bag of pendimethalin laying around. That is that a decent pre-emergent for cool season Idaho grass? Thank you. Yeah, it should be fine. That's a common pre-emergent that Scotts uses in a lot of their fertilizer in their products. So if you've got it, use it. I mean, why go out no reason to go out and buy more stuff if you already got that. I mean, you could use it this fall and then go to something else if you want to in the springtime. I don't use that particular pre-emergent. I mean, check the label. I mean, I believe pendimethalin is safe for cool season grass. I don't think there's any problem with it on cool season grass, but double check the label, make sure it's safe for your particular grass type. If it is, then yes, I would use up what you already have. Isaac Momperous is up. He says, hey, thanks, Ron. Thanks for the quick delivery of my soil test record speed. We try. I am a bit of a taskmaster when it comes to stuff getting shipped quickly. That's an easy way to get on my bad side. If stuff doesn't ship out quickly, I get kind of testy. I'm like, they ordered it already. Why is it not gone, guys? With the Hades, let's go. All right, next up is James Smith. He says, Thinkley will offer an 8-blade before equipment version upgrade. He talked about a future cartridge and battery later. I don't know. You'd have to ask him. On if he's going to do an 8-blade or not. I do not know the answer to that question. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to do that. I mean, he might do the cartridge system first. I don't know the answer to that. You'd have to reach out to Real Rollers and ask him or Isaac and see what they tell you. If they'll tell you, you never know. They might keep it secret. They might not even tell me because they're like, you know what? He might slip up and talk on the live stream and share all of our plans. So we might not need to tell him. So you guys can go talk to them directly. All right, Trevor Johnson is up next. He says, did you put some new shirts in the swag store? Looks nice. Yeah, so these have always been in this shirt has been around for a couple of years. I mean, it's not a new shirt. If you want to go check out the swag, you can go to here. This is the updated merch store. You should see that shirt in there, Trevor. I'll double check tonight, but it should be in there. That's the merch store with, should also have the Sunlight Soil and Stripe Action shirt. I need to work on that during the fall. I need to come up with some new t-shirt designs for you guys. Like I said, I might do one of these shirts with the Owlet on it and do another one with I already got the Greensmaster and maybe one with the True Cut. We'll get a bunch of different mowers. We'll see. Actually, it sounds like a terrible idea because I have a bunch of different SKUs to have to keep track of. It sounds like a pain. So actually, scratch that. Probably not going to do that. All right, next up is Jimmy Miller. He says, happy Friday, Mr. Henry. So if we are on the Ron Henry FERT plan 1st and the 15th, when is the best time to take a soil sample? Will the levels be so accurate close to application? Yeah, so I would do it as far away from the granular application as you can. So if you did a granular app on the 1st of the month, then before your next granular app, which would be like say the day before you're going to do your next granular app, which is going to be 4 weeks, then you could pull your cores and be good to go. Because remember, we're only spraying liquids. We're only doing foliar apps in the middle of the month. The middle of the month, you're not putting on a granular. So you would do granular liquid on the first of the month, liquids only on the 15th. And if you want to pull cores to do another soil test, just 3 to 4 weeks since your last granular application is what I would go for. And if you're doing what I do, it's going to be a month. You'll have 4 weeks between granular apps. And you said, does it matter? Yeah, you wouldn't want to do it right next to it. So if you did an application, if you put down, let's say, granular fertilizer today, you would not want to go out like 2 or 3 days from now and go pull cores because that could skew or is likely to skew your soil test results. Give it as much time as possible. 4 weeks is good. Tito Serrano is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, I want to get the Revolution Real mower, but my lawn is bumpy. Should I level it first or get the mower now? My lawn is at least 4 to 5 inch dips in it. Thank you." Yeah, 4 or 5 inch dips is going to be tough, man. So the Revolution goes up to an inch and a quarter, I believe. So the thing is, it depends. I mean, if you have, let's say that this is your lawn, right? And it's okay, but you've got like a dip that's like right here, on the MySoil test, right? And that dip is, like, say it's a 6-inch hole, a 6-inch dip, right? If you were to roll over that to where the roller is on, where it's high here and where it's high here, that would be okay. But if you're telling me you got you've got a big area of your lawn where it just literally drops sharply 4 to 5 inches, you're likely going to you're not going to be able to mow as low. But I would say this: so it depends. If you want, Tito, send me a picture of the lawn. I'll tell you what I think about it. Leveling is going to help. It's my email address, ron@golfcourselawn.com. But it depends on how the dips are. If you have an area of your lawn that is 4 to 5 inches lower than another area, but it's a gradual dip, or it's a gradual, a slope down to the lower spots, the mower will handle that just fine. It's when you have like the really sharp ones where you can start running into issues with scalping. So it depends. Without having a picture of your lawn, it's kind of hard to answer the question. So send me a picture if you don't mind. I'll take a look and let you know what I think. Ron@golfcourselawn.com. And as far as if you need to level your lawn, yeah, if you want to mow, like, what do you need to level? If you want to mow it, under an inch, under, like 3/4 of an inch, the height, what I call the golden height, height to mow your lawn at, that I think is the best of both worlds, then yeah, your lawn being level is going to help with that. At a minimum, you want to take all the harsh peaks off, right? To where, because with leveling, we say leveling the lawn, but really a better way of saying it is really you're smoothing out the lawn. Because like look at my lawn, it's not really, the slope is not really level. It's smooth to where the mower is able to run over any of the undulations and not scalp and kind of follow the contours of the lawn. Like, it's smoother, but it's not truly level. Like a sports field is level. Like even my back lawn is technically not level. It's kind of like a very shallow bowl if you're actually standing on it and looking at it. So yeah, it depends, Tito. Send me pictures of the lawn. I'll do my best to help you out based on what I see. Ijaz Mohammed is up next. He says, "Blessed Friday to you, Ron. I have a very bumpy lawn, Georgia clay. Any advice with which soil and when to attempt this project?" I do, Ijaz. So with a bumpy lawn in Georgia, I'm assuming you have warm season grass, you have like a Bermuda lawn. The time to do a leveling project would be in the springtime. So late April, early May, great time to level your lawn. As far as the product that I would recommend using there's a compost and soil product from Supersod. It's their level mix. It's an excellent product in the sense that it is very clean. There's not any debris in it. The organic material that's in the product, in that leveling mix is very good as well. As far as if I'm going to be doing any kind of leveling work on my lawn with it involves sand, that's what I'm going to be using. I really like the product. I've used it several times, and it's a great product. That is what I would go with. I'll give you a link here that will save you some money on it if you decide to go that route next year. But that is absolutely what I would use to level your lawn. And here is a video, here's a link to it. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, I think I've got it. Yeah, right here. So yeah. So if you go to that link, you'll see you can look at the material. Like, look at that stuff. I mean, it's like, there's no trash. It's like 30% compost, like there's Soil Cube compost, and USGA sand. So it's very clean stuff. There's not hardly any trash or debris in it. To put it in perspective, like, a few years ago, well, a few years at this point, probably 3 or 4 years ago at this point, I did a leveling project on the back lawn using that product. And I used 6 or 7 bags on the back lawn. I forget how much it was. It's a lot of material on the back lawn. And when I did that, out of like 6 or 7 yards of sand, right? The only debris that came out of that was this, So you see that, those little pebbles, those little stones, I have a dime next to them for reference. So over my entire back lawn, which is this area here. So this is like 8,500 at the time, 9,000 square feet. Over that much area that I put down, 6 to 7 yards of material. The only thing that came out was that much of their as far as stones or garbage. That's what came out. Those little rocks, and again, you can see them next to a dime for reference. If you use like any of the other top dressing materials you can get around here, like there's a lot of other places around here that sell sand, and while it can work, you're going to spend a lot of time getting trash out of the lawn. There's going to be, some will put peanut shells in it. There'll be like twigs and bigger stones. There's a lot of garbage. You just have to spend time once you're done getting that out of the lawn that you don't really have to do if you go with the big yellow bag stuff. So it's a bit more expensive, but you definitely get what you pay for. And I'd recommend going with that in your project if you decide to do it next spring. Again, April, May timeframe, late April, early May is when I would go about doing it. And if you use the link that I sent you in the chat, it will save you some money. Sounds like fun, man. Sounds like a good time. So keep me posted. I mean, it's going to be several months out, but keep me posted on which way you decide to go. All right, next up is Fescue Me. He says, I bought one of your shirts. It fits great. Nice. I'm glad, man. Fescue Me. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that you like the shirt and that it fits you good. Very cool. And then Trevor Johnson says, and repeated the short question apparently. The short question, yes. Yeah, well, it's okay, man. You want it. I'm happy that you guys like it. I mean, I need to spend some time on doing some more shirt designs. I've got enough cool stuff that I can do some cool shirts. So I'll spend some time on putting some stuff together. Brad Larson is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I've made many dumb mistakes this year. It happens. And my latest was to accidentally grab a bottle of weed and grass killer to spot kill weeds. Ouch. Do you know how to jumpstart the grass spots I killed? Time. So it depends on what kind of grass it is, Brad. You didn't tell me what kind of, what you have. If it's Bermuda, over time it will heal. So like you can transfer plugs into the areas you killed off, and that will help speed up the process. If you have a cool season lawn, you can overseed the area to help the area reestablish it, help grass grow in there, to help it bounce back. But really, it's going to be a time thing. Unfortunately. There's like fertilizer is not going to do it. You can do like a rich compost that will help some, but really it's going to be time, unfortunately. So sorry you're dealing with that. That kind of stinks. It's one of those things. I'm sure you won't do that again, but yeah, just time. There's not really a way to rush that outside of plugging the area. If it's close to the lawn, using grass seed, you could do sod if it's a warm season lawn, but I'm really not a fan of that because I've had bad experiences with sod not matching. So if you want it to be fixed and you want it to match and it's a Bermuda lawn, then give it time. Just either take plugs from the area from other parts of your lawn that are doing okay and transfer them into these areas that were damaged, or just let the grass grow in from around the areas that you hit with the weed and grass killer. Sorry you're dealing with that. Jimmy Miller says, when you say turf rake, which cartridge are you using? If you Google turf rake, you see everything from verticutters to spring to flail dethatchers. Very confusing. Yeah, tell me about it. I actually called Alan about this. I actually called Roland. I said, hey, listen, man, you guys make commercial mowers, you make commercial reel mowers, and you make residential reel mowers. Even in your own product lines, you guys call the same cartridge different things. Case in point. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. First, I'll answer your question as far as what I consider to be a turf rake. So if we go to here, so if we go to Owlet's page and the Sterling, and we look at what they call their Scarifier. So if you look at what they call a Scarifier, which if you look here, that is their tool for gently removing debris from the lawn. It's got the spring-loaded little metal fingers little paper clips that can easily, gently remove debris from your lawn. This is what I call turf raking. Why you ask? Why do you call it turf raking when Alec obviously calls it scarifying? Because if you go over to shop and then you go to their pro line, and you go to the Revolution, and then you go to here, they call the same thing a turf rake. So in the residential line, it's a scarifier. In the pro line, it's a turf rake, and they are the same thing. And I've asked them about this. I said, why do you guys, why? Make that make sense. And they're like saying, whatever, we're British. This is the way it is. Like one is one thing, one is the other thing. We're not going to, I guess they're not going to change it at this point because they got a bunch of literature printed that has one thing called a scarifier and one thing called a turf rake. But if what you are talking about, Jimmy, if it looks like this is what I would consider a turf rake or a scarifier. If it looks like a verticutter, looks like this. So it's a solid blades, closely spaced. This is what I would consider a verticutter, right? The idea is to vertically mow the lawn. That's a verticutter. And then most aggressive is going to be this guy, which is, they don't even have a dethatcher for this. So if we go back to the homeowner mowers and go to Alec Sterling and then go to dethatcher. This is the most aggressive. You can see the blades are spaced further apart. It's got like a hook. It's got a hook, this is more for tearing than for cultivation, like gentle cultivation. So this is the most aggressive out of all those cartridges. This, I don't think that most people need on their lawns, to be completely honest. You can verticut, and you can also, like turf raking is the thing you're going to use the most, and then verticutting once per month. And this really hardly, if ever. Like this tool, in my opinion, is when you have a lawn that's been neglected for a long period of time. It's highly compacted. There's lots of debris and trash in it, and you want to run a dethatcher on it to get a lot of that to kind of like give the lawn a reset. I could see running a dethatcher like cartridge like that on it, but you really would only do it once. And then once you're done dethatching it, then you would switch to a turf rake from that point going forward. So I don't own a dethatcher. They don't make one for the Evolution apparently, but I would not recommend getting that cartridge. If you have a choice between cartridges, really the verticutter and the turf rake are the ones that you will get the most use out of. So hopefully I've made it a little bit less confusing, because even Alec is confused about what they call a scarifier and what they call a turf rake. But hopefully now you understand, from my perspective anyway, what a dethatcher is, what a verticutter is, and what a turf rake / scarifier are, because those two are basically the same thing. All right. And then James Smith says, thoughts on, you sent a resource photo. I've already answered that, James. I think I told you, like a pro plugger might be something you can add, but outside of that, I think you're in good shape. Oh, guys, one thing I have not done as yet, we're still in the live stream, but as far as the content that was released this week, outside of the video, if you go to the store, if you guys are wondering about how to keep mosquitoes out of your lawn, because I've gotten a couple of emails on that, and it's one of the pieces of content that I wanted to write. It was in the schedule for a while. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and then go to resources and then to blog, the newest blog, we got two new ones actually. There's one that's on how to get rid of mosquitoes in your yard. Talks about the life cycle of mosquitoes, how they breed, why you should want to get rid of them, some of the problems they can cause, and then some options to get rid of them, like the Miramichi Pest Control, excellent product for getting rid of mosquitoes in your lawn. If you want, also offer some cultural practices to help prevent having mosquitoes in your lawn, like, not making sure you have good drainage, don't go crazy on your irrigation, and then some DIY remedies. So if you want to just, create an environment that mosquitoes do not like, certain plants you can put in, like citronella, like they don't like that, and some other homemade remedies you can do as far as to keep mosquitoes away. So if you're looking for ways to get rid of mosquitoes, is a fun piece to put together. It's a short read. Hopefully you guys get some value out of it. And then on the topic of sedges, the best weed killers or best herbicides for taking care of nut sedge, that was released late, just not that long ago. I mean, earlier this week actually. So it's only been 5 days. The long and short of it, I'll give you the cliff notes, is if you got cool season grass, go with Sedgehammer. If you got warm season grass, go with Certainty. There you go. Save you a bunch of time. But if you want to know about different sedges, how they grow, why they're a pain, why they're difficult to control, which ones are easier to control than others, you can take a look at this. So there you go. And I will give you guys, I'll put links in the chat for both of these in case you guys are interested in checking out some content on getting rid of sedges and on keeping mosquitoes out of your lawn. So getting rid of sedges, and there's that one. And is that right? Did I give you the right one? Or did I post it? No, that's wrong. Can't type. That's the mosquitoes one. So for getting rid of mosquitoes, that was the that's the blog post that I just put in. For getting rid of sedges, hang on, it's the other one. But they're both here. How about that? Blog post here. And that way you guys will have them. And for anyone that's watching this after the fact, these will be in the live stream as a pinned comment once the show is over. So I will delete this one because it is labeled incorrectly. So yeah. Hope you guys don't mind. Feel free to read through that stuff. If you have any comments on it, feel free to let me know, and also share it. A lot of the content, the live stream, the other YouTube videos, the blog content, it's a lot of work to put that stuff together. So if you don't mind, feel free to share the love, pass it on to friends, family, anyone that you think could benefit from it. It's free content, right? And I think it's pretty good. Next up is Brandon Roast. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, but we're going to try. Brandon Roast. He says, "Hey, Ron, just got a house in San Antonio with a horribly maintained Bermuda lawn. There's not enough that survived to push to fill in. What seed do you recommend to put down to fill it in? Thanks." I don't. So if you're going to renovate the lawn, so you're giving up, you're saying the existing lawn is not going to happen, I'm going to start over, and I still want to stick with Bermuda, I would kill the existing lawn and either do sod, and I just say just do sod. But if you decide that you want to do hard mode, I would still, step one is still the same thing. Get rid of the existing grass and then pick a grass seed of your choice. So like Yukon, Monaco, one of the common Bermuda grass seeds, you could use one of those. And go that route. But I would really try and push you to go towards a sod because it's going to be so much easier. It's going to be so much easier. It's going to be faster. And you're going to go from like no lawn to lawn, like literally overnight once it's done. But I would get rid of the existing grass. If you've given up on it, you said, hey, this lawn can't be salvaged. I would kill off what you currently have and then do a Bermuda sod of your choice. There's not really going the seed route. If you decide you want to do that, Monaco or Yukon, look into those. But I'm really trying to push you towards sod because it's a lot easier. So hope that helps, Brandon. And I haven't seen the lawn. You haven't sent me pictures of it, but it's one thing to keep in mind. Bermuda's pretty resilient. You might think that Bermuda, that there's no saving it, but with some love and care, some TLC, you might be surprised that you might be able to make that existing lawn come back. So I haven't seen pictures of the lawn, so I don't know what what you're working with, but it's just something to keep in mind, that the way it looks now does not necessarily mean that that's how it would look if you put some some love into it. So just something to think about. But if you're going to go the route of you giving up, you're throwing in the towel, it's got to go away, then I would get rid of the existing lawn and then decide from there. Melvin Otta is up next. He says, we got Higgy Pop here on Instagram. Say hi to you guys. What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming to support on the gram as well, too. I appreciate you. All right, Melvin Otta's up next. He says, hey, Ron, I usually keep my Bermuda at 1 inch. I couldn't mow for a few weeks. It's now 5 to 6 inches. Okay, Melvin, first of all, 5 to 6 inches from 1 inch is more than a few weeks, man. Come on, let's. I know a thing or two about Bermuda. For it to grow 5 or 6 inches in a couple of weeks, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what to do. Scalp, keep it high. Any thoughts? So if you scalp it, it's probably not going to green up with the amount of time that we have left in the season. It could look a little bit ugly. It's your call. It's really your call. If you decide to scalp it, just know that the lawn may not come back completely green before it starts to check out. That's thing one. If you decide to leave it at the current height, you're going to likely scalp next spring, which is going to be, scalping next spring. So I guess the question is really, do you want to have the problem now or do you want to have the problem next year? If it were me, so let's I'll do the thought experiment with you. If it were me, if I had done something, I went away for a couple of months, 2-3 months, and came back to a 6-inch Bermuda lawn, I would not leave it at that height. I would cut it down to, maybe 2 inches, 1.5 inches, and just take the hit to the color, take the hit to the green, so that I have less of a headache to deal with next year. I would not leave it at that height. I really wouldn't. So it's really your call, but just know that if you do that, you're unlikely to get it to be completely green again before the lawn starts to go dormant, which is not really a bad thing, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the lawn's gonna be going brown anyway, so what difference does it matter if it goes brown a little sooner? So, but I will question that you did not mow for a few weeks and it grew from 1 inch to 5 to 6 inches in a few weeks. Unless you're just like, you're a little bit of hyperbole there that it only grew to like 3 inches in a couple of weeks. That I could see, but 5, 6 inches in a couple of weeks, that's a lot. That's a lot, Melvin. So yeah, it's your choice. You got a problem. Do you want the problem now or do you want the problem in the spring? If it were me, I would knock it down at least some now, and then you could finish it up in the spring. Because I could not imagine, man, scalping 5 or 6 inches of Bermuda in the springtime sounds like a lot of pain. You're very welcome, Anna. No worries at all. You're very well welcome. Glad that we got you all squared away. Next up is Dookie Lips. Okay. He says, I have a St. Augustine lawn and a ton of weeds. I use the post-emergent herbicides without great results. I heard adding an acid like ammonium sulfate makes it stronger, and dish soap can be a surfactant. Okay, so a lot going on there, Dookie. Without knowing what kind of weeds you have, what post-emergent herbicide you used, it's tough to know why you didn't get a great result. As far as herbicides that work very well on St. Augustine grass that are very effective against a broad range of weeds, a good combination is Celsius for broadleaf weeds. And then for sedges, for some of your more grassy type weeds, is Certainty. The nice thing is both of these guys can be used together. These two with surfactant, like this, make a very good combination for cleaning up weeds in your lawn. I would not use dish soap for surfactant. I mean, this stuff is not that expensive, so use an actual surfactant that's designed to be mixed with lawn care products versus using dish soap. As far as what I'm talking about, lawn store, go to shop and then go to the carefully curated weed killer section. You can find the Warm Season kit, the kit that contains Celsius, Certainty, surfactant, and marker dye. So you get all that in one, or you can get it a la carte, just Celsius, Certainty, and you can buy them individually here. These herbicides will produce a good result as far as controlling weeds in your St. Augustine lawn. I would highly recommend that you use a proper surfactant, like an actual surfactant that's designed to be mixed with these products, versus using dish soap. I wouldn't do that. I would use actual surfactant. So yeah. So it's hard to help out because one, I don't know what herbicides you use, what weeds you're trying to control, and it sounds like we were trying some maybe some home remedy stuff, some stuff you may have just heard or read about online. I would say let's step it up to some of the more big boy, big girl products, herbicides, and that will take care of it. And make sure you apply it per the instructions, per the label, and use like a proper surfactant, not like dish soap, and you should get a good result. So hope that helps, sir. Next is James. He says, thank you, Ron. You're very welcome. Appreciate the questions. Trilla says, happy Friday, Ron and Stripe Action Gang. 3 videos back to back was a big surprise, but is always welcome over here. Yeah, man, I just wanted to get them out. I've had them filmed, like the Revolution videos. I've had those filmed since last Sunday. And the one of me just mowing, I said, you know what? I haven't done a video of me just mowing for a while. I actually looked outside of the old intro video for the live stream. I don't have a good video anyway of me just mowing the back lawn. There's one, but it's not that great. This is a better one. So I said, why not? I said, either they like it or they won't like it. So why not? I'll put it out there. Next up is Devin. Devin's in the house. Demir, he says, hey, Ron, looking forward to some good turf talk. Love the latest mowing video. See, there you go. So someone that appreciated just the video of just me just mowing the lawn. So maybe I got to do some more of that stuff. So yeah, maybe we'll just do a video of just the outlet on the lawn, just mowing with it, or just turf raking with it. Maybe you guys want to see some of that. But hey, Devin, thanks. Hopefully you're doing well, sir. I'm still waiting for those pictures. I know how you are. You're waiting for the lawn to get established and start looking good before you start sharing pictures of it. But at some point, share pictures of how the process is coming along, because we actually like to see it. Make sure we're part of the process. Your little accountability group. All right, James is up next. James Smith. He says, with all the talk on spraying tonight, how do you dispose of the extra liquid product left in the tank? What about cleaning the tank afterwards? So I don't really have a lot of extra liquid in the tank when I'm done, James. I use it up. So if I have any fertilizer, it's a good example. That's a great question. If I have, like, say I'm spraying like my liquid, my carbon kit and Primo, right? If I got a little bit extra left over after I have finished spraying the lawn, I'll go and I'll spray the shrubs. I'll spray, the vanity strip in front of Alex's lawn. I use up all of the product. As far as cleaning the tank when I'm done, I rinse. First of all, I rinse it. I put about maybe an inch or so of water in it. I dump that out, and then I put I put more water in it. It's enough to where the pump will actually run. And then I run the sprayer for about 30 seconds with just pure water through it. That gets the water out of the tank. It gets it out of the pump, out of the lines. And I do that after I use it every single time, because that way, whenever I'm up to use the sprayer next, whether I'm spraying herbicides, whatever I'm using, the tank is clean and I'm good to go. So that's how I do it. I use up all the product, and then I rinse the tank a couple of times and then run just clean water through it before I put the sprayer up. Great question. And that's how, sometimes you guys ask the question of, do you have a different sprayer for herbicides versus a different one for fertilizer? No, I don't. And you really don't have to have that, as long as you do exactly what I'm talking about. Like, as long as you make sure you leave it clean when you're done, you don't have to have like a dedicated sprayer for herbicides and a dedicated sprayer for fertilizer. I've been using the same one for herbicides and for fertilizer, and I will literally do herbicides one day if I need to, and then I would have no problem with the following day or 2 days later spraying fertilizer on the lawn using that same sprayer, because I make sure it's clean whenever I put it up. I don't leave anything in the tank. All right, Fraz Frazicki says, no, not the soft, heartfelt music. Dang, oh, you got me. No, not the heartfelt music. Dang, you went there. Here's your like. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. You made me break it out. See, you made me break it out. I had to do it. So for that, any of you guys that are here that are liking the show, if you're not giving a like, please feel free to do that. It's a free way to support the channel. Just for you, Fraziki or Frazikel. Yes, I had to break it out. I had to go there. You guys weren't hitting the like button, so I had to do it. Had to happen. Next up is Tony. It says, "Hey Ron, trying to see, should I reseed now or wait longer?" It depends. There's not enough information to be able to answer that question, Tony. This is not enough information to be able to answer it. I mean, if you have an existing lawn, like say you have a new lawn and it's got bare spots in it, and I need more information to be able to answer it. If it's a Bermuda lawn, I would say give it time, because given a healthy diet of healthy diet of nitrogen, and enough sunlight, Bermuda does a pretty good job thickening up and filling in if you mow it regularly. Like, Bermuda spreads like wildfire under the right conditions. If it's a cool season lawn, and so you have more like a bunching type grass, like a fescue, then if you got a big bare spot, that's when seeding would be a strategy to get it to fill in. But without having more context around what kind of grass you have, what have you tried, that kind of thing, it's difficult to answer your question, unfortunately. So if you're still here and you want to like add some more detail, like I'll revisit it, but I can't really give you an answer because there's not enough in the question. All right, next up is Nyan. He says, "Hey Ron, how much Turfplex should I apply per 1,000 square feet per gallon? And should I water it in right after applying or wait a day after applying?" Okay, so first of all, as far as the application rate, 6 ounces per 1,000 square feet, whether you mix it with 1 gallon or 2 gallons or half a gallon or a gallon and a half, it's 6 ounces per 1,000 square feet. That's the thing that you want to start keeping in mind. It's active ingredient over a certain amount of square footage. So in this case, fertilizer, a certain amount of fertilizer over X amount of square footage. So 6 ounces of Turfplex with 1 gallon of water sprayed over 1,000 square feet is a great idea. That's what I do. Should you water in after application? No. Turfplex does not need to be watered in. You simply spray it on the lawn and allow it to dry. It works by foliar uptake, so there's no need to run irrigation after you apply it. You spray it, allow it to dry, and go on about your day. If you're going to run irrigation, watering the lawn the following day would be just fine. I mean, technically, if you wanted to, you could. If you sprayed Turfplex in the morning, you could run your irrigation in the afternoon or evening if you wanted to, but best case, just wait the following day. So spray it today, let it dry, and then run your irrigation the following day. But that's just because you're just watering your lawn, because that's your normal day to water the lawn, not because it has anything to do with Turfplex, because again, it does not need to be watered in. You spray it, allow it to dry, and away you go. Let's see. Tillman Waters says, I have fought sedges all, I don't know. I lost your last, the rest of it, Tillman. If you fought sedges though, you're in luck, because I have a recently written blog on that very topic on getting rid of sedges. Long short of the problem is, if you got cool season lawn, use Sedgehammer. You got a warm season lawn, use Certainty. And regardless of whether you use Certainty or Sedgehammer, use surfactant along with it for best results. That is what I would recommend. And Tillman, here you go. At Tillman, that's the blog on controlling sedges. So hopefully you get some value out of that. Tom Hoffenkamp, he says, oh my, how is the world's best lawn guy? Not hardly, I wish, not even close. He says, Ron, what is the day you stop PGR? My next application, which will be next weekend, because I'm doing it every 2 weeks. Next weekend will be my last app for growth regulator. I'll still continue to spray liquid fertilizer, but my last PGR app, I'll be shutting it down on my next app, which will be next weekend. That's when I do it. All right, next up is Abraham Soto. He says, hi there, new subscriber. Thank you for the amazing content. I've been going through a lot of your videos. Awesome. Thank you so much, Abraham. I really do appreciate that. Appreciate all the love and support. A lot of work goes into making the content, so I'm glad that you're getting some value out of it. Also, if you are liking the video content, if you're someone that likes to read, there's also the blog and knowledge base on the store that is, again, completely free to access, and you might get some more detail and some more value out of that as well too. Because a lot of the blog content is not stuff that would be great videos, because it's a little bit more like propeller head stuff. So it's just more. There's more detail in the blogs than you'll find in the videos, because with videos you're trying to make something that's entertaining to watch while also being informative. Whereas the blog, while you do want it to be entertaining to read, it can lean more towards the informative side than video, than a lot of video content. And if you're interested in the blog and knowledge base, you can find them. And just go to Golf First Lawn Store under the resources section. You'll see the knowledge base. Actually, I'll just show you. You go to the Golf First Lawn Store. If you go to resources, you got blog and you got knowledge base. Knowledge base is where you'll find like longer form articles, guides like this one, Beginner's Guide to Lawn Care. These are going to be longer, but there's lots of great info in these as far as, for someone that's getting into their lawn on how the way I like to do a lawn care program. Lots of little questions and answers in this as well. So a lot of the frequently asked questions I get, they're embedded within this guide. So if you want, Abraham, I will send this to you. This is the Beginner's Guide to Lawn Care. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to let me know. All right. Next up, as Tom Hoffenkamp, you got your answer. My next application for PGR is going to be next week. And then that will be it for growth regulator for the season for me. That's for me. If you live in Southern Texas, or you live in Arizona, you live in Florida, you live in SoCal, and your grass is still growing and it's still going to be growing for, for months and months on end, continue to use growth regulator. There's nothing, just because I'm shutting it down next week doesn't mean that you guys, depending on where you are in the country, need to do that. If you have a cool season lawn, you can still continue to use growth regulator, because your lawn is going to be growing for a couple more months until it starts getting really cold and it starts to check out. So it depends. The answer varies based on where you are and your grass type. All right, Progression Decibel is up next. He says, when we see max app rates per year for things like pre-emergent herbicides, etc., what exactly is that for? To abide by some environmental law, or it actually hurts our turf if over-applied in a 12-month span? Both. So it's the reason why there are application limits or annual limits is for the same reason like there are limits on the vitamins you take or anything else that you ingest, right? Like a certain amount of anything or of like herbicide or of fertilizer is good. It's going to produce a good result. Once you get past that, it starts to produce a less desirable result and can also lead to injury, right? If like over applying fertilizer tends to lead to waste. It tends to cause thatch. Over applying herbicides makes it much more likely that you're going to damage the grass. In addition to the weeds, you're also putting more herbicide in the soil than really needs to be. So to answer your question, it's both of them. It's for environmental reasons, and also because if you overdo it, you're going to damage the grass, which is not what you want. So stick to the label rates. They are there for a reason. You know what I mean? Progression. If you think about it, like you think about anything that's good for you. Think of like vitamin C, right? Like you might take vitamin C as a supplement every day, and that's fine. And if you take it at the right amounts that the label prescribes for, it's good. But if you took like an entire bottle of it, it becomes toxic, right? If you take, it's the same thing with herbicides. Even though you can take a product like Celsius, right, which is an excellent herbicide for worms using grass. When applied at the proper rates, it's going to control the weeds and be very unlikely to injure your grass. If you go at 10, 15 times the application rate, it's going to kill the weeds, but it's also going to do damage to your grass. You know what I mean? And you're also putting more of the product into the soil that needs to be. It just is not. There's a whole lot of negatives to doing it. So you're wasting it, and it's going to produce a negative result. So it's not just for. I mean, to answer your question, it is for environmental reasons. Yes, that is correct. But it's also because you're going to damage your grass if you overdo it. Like, you know, if you want something that's entertaining to read, if you could join some of the lawn care groups on Facebook or like some of the other forums like Reddit or whatever, and you like look up forums on like growth regulator application, right? Because whenever I talk about Primo, for example, I always tell people like stick to the application rates. Like the rates are the rates for a reason. Like more is not better. And you'll find people that will like literally, in some cases, they'll put down 10 times the amount of what the label calls for. And what happens? They get really good regulation, like their lawn doesn't grow, but it also turns yellow. It discolors it. It can take months for it to recover from it. So you're wasting the product. You're injuring the grass, and you're not going to get the desired results. So for all those reasons, stick to the rates of the label. I mean, if you think about it, right? Like Syngenta, who makes Primo Max, is in business to sell Primo Max, right? Like it's in their best interest to sell as much of this stuff as they possibly can because that helps their bottom line, right? But if they tell you, the people that have a vested interest in selling this product, they say don't use any more than this because just don't, like it's going to cause problems. Like you should listen to them, right? It's in their best interest to sell a lot of it, and they're telling you like limit like this much per 1,000 square feet. Don't exceed this much over a 12-month period, and that's for the safety of your grass and the environment. So I would stick to the application rates. There's no reason to really go way off script on that. The only thing where there's a little bit of leeway and it's really within a reasonable range is when it comes to, say, like your nitrogen inputs, your fertilizer inputs. So for example, Bermuda grass calls for about 5 pounds or so of nitrogen per year over the growing season. You can, so for a lot of people, you'll hear them say, 1 pound of nitrogen per month is what Bermuda needs, which is a decent rule to live by, right? But if you're doing a lot of other things right, like if you're doing a good biostimulant program, you can get by with actually putting less than a pound of nitrogen per month in, right? So that's the thing. And if you were to go, up a little bit on a month, like you put in like 1.25 pounds in a month, like that's not going to materially cause problems or damage. But if you decide instead of putting down 1 pound of nitrogen per month, which is around the area of where you want to be, a little below that, a little bit above it is okay. If you went to like say 2 or 3 or 4 pounds of nitrogen in a single month, it's going to cause problems, So I beat that horse to death enough. The horse is falling over. It's dead. I'm kicking it, and we can move on to the next question. So long and short of the answer is stick to the application rates. They're there for a reason. You're likely to not get a good result if you go outside of them. All right. Next up is, let's see here. Next up is James Smith. He says, and before you ask, I don't drive. If I do, it's a Tesla EV, mostly bike when I need to head out shopping. Cool. So you're probably in pretty good shape, James. I get it. So you know what? That's what it is. You're one of these people who just is trying to ruin my fun. That's why you're trying to make me drink the half diet lemonade and the thing. You see, I knew if I stuck around long, if I kept reading long enough, I'd figure out what your motive was. You're like one of these guys that doesn't like, you're not the fun person. You don't want me to have, you don't want the trying to get me to drink like diet lemonade. I understand now, James. I'm still gonna do it tomorrow. I'm still gonna do the half and half because I said I would, and I gave my word this time, so I'm gonna do it. But now I'm understanding you more and more as I read through your comments. You're that guy. Tesla EV, huh? I get it. Tesla folk are like the Mercedes folk of gas powered cars. Like it's like there's other people that make, granted, I will say this, Tesla doesn't make the best EV in my opinion, right? The network and everything is it's the best one. But if you ever hear Tesla folks talk, it's like listening to Mercedes people talk about like their cars. Like, it's like, yeah, I have a Tesla. Oh, or you have like the Hyundai EV, or you have like who else makes one? Yeah, you guys won't even acknowledge the Rivian folks. Like that's a huge rift. You guys think there's like drama between mower types, like between like Revolution versus Rolex or versus TrueCut. Let like a Rivian person and a Tesla person get to talking. That's you think that they're both gonna, like, one is gonna destroy the planet. One is tasked with saving the planet and the other one is tasked with destroying it. But yeah, all right, James, I'll get off. I'll stop bugging you. I understand you better now, though, sir. All right, next up is 2 Trilla. He says, I've been getting a lot of rain lately. How long should I wait before spraying Specticle Flow? I'm afraid it may not take as well. Is this a legit concern, or am I overreacting? You are overreacting. Like, literally, you could, if it were raining right now and it stopped raining for an hour, you could go out and spray Specticle Flow. And if it started raining an hour after you were done, that would be like the perfect thing. Like, you get watered in, you'd be good to go. So yes, there's no issue with spraying it on a wet lawn. There's no issue with spraying it when there's rain in the forecast. As a matter of fact, it's a good idea to spray it when there's rain in the forecast because that helps to water it in, because it's a pre-emergent, so it needs to get in the soil profile to work. So you are overthinking it, 2 Trilla. You're overthinking it. Next up is Big Germ. You know what, 2 Trilla? I'm actually going to make a note of that one because that was actually a pretty good question. So next up is Big Germ, and he is asking, he's saying, on your October, November fungicide apps, what are you using? Are you switching to classes between apps, class 1 or class 3 or 11? I have propiconazole, azoxystrobin, and thiophanate methyl. Thanks. I'm going to be doing 2 apps using Pillar SC. So this is a group 3 and 11, I believe, fungicide is what's in this. So it's in the same family as propiconazole and azoxystrobin. So I'm going to be doing the same app, one in October of this, and then one in November of the same thing. So yeah, the only other fungicide that I'll switch if I want to rotate, I would use what's it, the 336F, the Claries. Like, I'll rotate to that. But for my preventative in the fall, I'll do 1 round of Pillar again, October 1st, and then November 1st, I'll do another one and then call it good. I don't have a problem with doing like 2 in a row, like 2 of the same one back to back is not a big deal. You really, if you're having to do a 3rd app, like say you're trying to control a disease that's really persistent, like really you don't want to do more than 2 apps of the same class, the same family, without rotating to something else before you come back to it. So I'm doing this as a preventative, and I'm doing like 2 apps. So I'm good, Big Germ. All right, next up is Jared. George says, it's not the price. I can't get sod where I'm at. I'm a 7B, but Bermuda isn't, well, I'll leave it at that. Okay, I got you. You can't get Bermuda sod. So here's the thing. So if you can't get Bermuda sod, where are you going to get the plugs from? That's a good, actually, you know what? I'm not going to answer that. I don't want to know where you're going to get the plugs from. You're probably going to make some covert mission in the middle of the night. Someone's going to wake up in the morning. There's going to be holes in their lawn. I don't want to know. Don't answer that. I want to have plausible deniability as to where you get your plugs from. Because if you can't find sod, where are you getting plugs? But leave it out there. Leave it done. All right, next up is Jared George. He says, don't know if we have any Bearded guys in here, but I'm learning that Ron is slowly reminding me of my favorite bearded content creator, Dan C. Bearded. Ron is Dan's counterpart. Yeah, man. No, I don't have a beard, man. If I try really hard, I can grow a goatee. You can actually see. You can see I got a little bit of fuzz. You can see that's what I can grow. I can go like a Jack Sparrow, but no, like a full beard. Can't do it, man. Can't do it. I can do like this, and if I wait long, if I can get some lines, but no full beard. It is not for me. It's not for me. It's not in the cards. We got the Maestro up here in Instagram saying, "Hey Ron, good to see you. What's going on, Maestro? Thanks a lot. Thanks, appreciate you hanging out." And we got Terry Amazing saying, "Start over. I just got here." We're a little over 3 hours in, Terry. That would be tough to do. But if you have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat. And I'll do my best to help you out. But I can't start over. Can't do it. Can't do it. All right, let's see. We got Vito C here says, hope everyone is doing well. I just cut low and dethatched tonight. Am I still good to overseed in a few days when I'm free from work? Yes, you're good to go. No problem at all. Long Tran is up next. He says, first time ever live stream for me. Nice. Thank you so much, Long Tran. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming to hang out. Always like having new viewers in the channel, and especially on the content as well on the live stream. So appreciate you. Thank you for taking some time out of your Friday to come hang out and talk about grass. It's a fun topic. All right, next up is L. Shep. He says, hey, Ron, I just did a soil test and bought the recommended fertilizer. Thanks. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Let me know on how the lawn does. So you did thing one, got a soil test. What you did is this, right? People always ask, how do I get a great lawn? I can show you in a nutshell. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version of it, right? The high level, the 10,000 square foot view. If you go to Golf Force Lawn Store and actually click on shop, it'll take you to this main collections page. And this shows you at a high level how you get a great lawn. 1, get rid of weeds, because weeds are no fun. We don't like weeds. Thing 2, do a soil test. Thing 3, fertilize your lawn based on said soil test results. And then thing 4, the thing that most people don't do enough, is to mow and mow some more. And if you do these things, step 5 is enjoy it. So it's pretty difficult to not get a great looking lawn if you do steps 1 through 4. And a whole lot of step 4. Step 4 is the secret sauce that most people just don't spend enough time doing. But it sounds like you're on your way, Shep. Not you. You already got the soil test done. You already got the fertilizer. I didn't hear about the mowing, but I believe that you're going to also do that as well too. All right. Jared says, there's no reason for me to not have warm season where I'm at. Trust me, but I'm getting Bermuda sod. But getting Bermuda sod not going to happen. Money or not. LOL. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll take your word for it, man. Okay. Whatever. You can't get Bermuda sod. I'll take it. Whatever you say. All right. Oliver Rhythm says, Ron. He says, Ron, where can I get that shirt? I need to join the gang. That's right. So you got, I like it, Oliver. So you got the new, where's your mower, man? Because that's a clean picture of your mower. Where is it? Okay. Yeah. So here's his mower. So you got the new mower. You got the mower. You get the 1600. So you want a shirt with the 1600 to rock, right? Okay. So you should be able to find that shirt in the merch store, Oliver. So if you go here, you should be able to find it here. So let me see, at Oliver Rhythm. You should be able to find that shirt there. If you can't, feel free to drop me an email and let me know. And I will, I'll see what I can do about to fixing that. 'Cause I still have this design, so I can re-add if it's not there, but it should be there. It should be there. But that's where the merch currently is. If you want to get yourself one of these guys, one of these bad mama jammas. Which you should, because you got a 1600, and this has got a 1600 in it. I mean, it's made for you. We should call this the Oliver shirt. All right, LG says, LG got himself a limited edition GM 1000 shirt from Mr. Josh Habib at Oliver Rhythm. Nice. That's true. Josh did a couple of shirts that I wear. Like, you guys see the green shirt that has the 1600 on it, and the gray shirt that has 1600 on it. Like, those you can't really buy because a viewer made some of those up for me, and I asked him, I said, hey man, well, I should be really cool to be able to offer those. He's like, no, because I only want you to have it. So with LG, I mean, complained, begged, pleaded, probably threatened him, and LG managed to get a shirt, but it's there's not an easy way for me to get a shirt to anybody else. So there you go. All right, Jamil Taylor is up next. He says, what is a good fertilizer, application interval, and how often? Excellent question, Jamil. So I'm a fan of what's called spoon feeding. What that has you doing is applying a granular fertilizer once per month at the beginning of the month. And then I supplement that with a liquid fertilizer combination that I apply also on the first of the month and then again 2 weeks later. So every 2 weeks, you're spraying the lawn with a liquid fertilizer, and then once per month, you are using a granular fertilizer. So to show you what I do, I'll show you my program in a nutshell. If you go to shop and then lawn fertilizer on the Golf Course Lawn Store, the fertilizer that I primarily use is this one. It's called Humic Max 1608. It's an excellent product. It's nitrogen and potassium, but it's also got almost 9% humic acid in it. So it's also helping to improve soil quality in addition to feeding your grass. And then I combine that with the Golf Course Lawn Carbon Kit, which is a combination of 3 products. It is a liquid fertilizer called Release 901C that also has 10% carbon in it, NutriKelp, which is a kelp product with 2% carbon, and then finally BioSpectrum, which is a soil microbial food that helps boost microbial activity, which is important because you think about it, whenever you apply fertilizer to the soil, like a granular, microbes break it down and make the fertilizer available for the grass to uptake it. So it's an important part of the nutrient program. If you're interested, I also have a blog post that talks about spoon feeding, like this program in more detail, and I'll link that for you here in the chat. Actually, if we go here to resources and blog, it might be, yeah, here it is right here. Like why you should start spoon feeding your lawn. So it was a blog post from, I think, July, but it talks about exactly what I just ran through with you. It talks about the product and the fertilizer and the sequencing that I like to use. I even give you application rates for the granular, and I give you application rates for the liquids in here as well as like how many ounces per 1,000 square feet and this type of thing. So if you're interested in that, Jamil, I will give you a link to that here in the chat. Spoon feeding is awesome. It's one of the best things that you can do for your lawn, assuming you have the time. Reason why is because if you think about it, you ever apply like a granular fertilizer to your lawn, just strictly a granular program. And what you find is like about a week after you apply the granular fertilizer, the lawn starts turning a nice green, it starts to grow faster, and overall looks really awesome. And then 2 to 3 weeks later, it begins to slow down. The color isn't as good, and it begins to fall off. And then you're in the cycle again. When you apply another apply granular again, it looks really bright, nice and green, and then it slowly falls off. So by doing spoon feeding, you get rid of those peaks and valleys. You smooth it out to where you're putting down like most of your nutrient as far as your macros is coming from the granular fertilizer. And then you use the liquids to supplement that. And what you get is more consistency in the amount of color and the amount of growth in the lawn. And it just overall makes for a great looking lawn that doesn't grow really fast at certain times of the month, and a color in the lawn that looks consistent throughout the month. So the negative to it is you have to be out there twice a month, once on the first, and then once every couple of weeks spraying liquids. But the results are incredible. They look really good. So just sent you the link there to where you can find that, the spoon feeding program. And if you want an overall program, like a higher level of what I do on the lawn, if you go to resources and then to lawn care schedule, and you go down here to item 5, which is the monthly application schedule, I break down month by month from March through October, I believe. Yeah, March through October, like what I'm applying that month, and a little bit of explanation behind that. So hopefully you can find this useful as well. I'll give you a link to this as well. So you got like a calendar, and you get the spoon feeding program, and there'll be links to the fertilizers and the products that I use. So you'll be all squared away, man. You'll have everything you need. All you have to do is just feed the lawn and mow it. Don't forget mowing. It's super important. It's a thing that most people do not do enough of. All right. Next, we have a question from Terry. Amazing. She says, when should we apply our last fertilizer application? I'm in the Atlanta area with Xeon Zoysia. I'm doing my last granular fertilizer application, Terry, next month in October. I'm doing my last granular. I'll still spray liquids, but granular gets shut down in October. So October is when I do my last one, and then that's it. So hope that helps. And as far as the granular I'm going to be using, you didn't ask this, but I'll just save myself the question. The granular that I'm going to be stopping with is going to be this one. It's going to be the 12024. So if you go to shop lawn fertilizer, it's going to be this guy. This is what I'm shutting down the season with, a high potassium fertilizer. So, but you're on Instagram and you can't see that. So I'm going to link it here and I'll put it in the chat for you right now so you have it. Okay. So if you have any other questions, let me know. Okay, next up is Charles Westmoreland. He says, good evening, Ron and crew. Overseeing my cool season lawn here in Northern Virginia. Nice. I like it. Like it. Sounds like a fun project. Next up is G7 Films. G7 Films, he says, happy Friday, everyone. Is there a way to starve out St. Augustine to keep Bermuda? I have a lot of St. Augustine, but I want Bermuda instead. Or should I accept the inevitable and keep the St. Augustine? There is a way to get rid of St. Augustine and keep Bermuda G7. There's a selective herbicide called quinclorac. Bermuda tolerates it very well, but St. Augustine and centipede grass do not. So if you're trying to get rid of the centipede grass or the St. Augustine grass while keeping your Bermuda, you can use this herbicide called quinclorac. So I'll give you a link here in the chat to that. That is the way that I would go if you're looking to, get rid of St. Augustine and give Bermuda the chance to become the alpha, the dominant grass in your lawn. So make sure you read the label for it, because here's the thing, the label is going to say all over it, like, do not apply this to St. Augustine grass because it doesn't tolerate it very well. It's going to injure and or kill it. But Bermuda, no problem. No problem. So G7 Films, here is quinclorac. There you go. So that's what I would use to get rid of the St. Augustine in your Bermuda lawn. So hopefully you find that useful. G7 Films, what do you film, man? You got to let me know. If you're still here in the chat, you're still hanging out, like, let me know what kind of content do you shoot. I'm sure you got some cool camera gear. I always like to talk shop about camera equipment. It's like my other hobby outside, like mowing grass and trying to keep bad guys out of networks. All right, Harper's Knitter is up next. He says, I have a Toro 60 volt and it doesn't mulch. It says it does, but it doesn't. Do you or any comment readers have a suggestion on a better mower? I have only my own mower 1 year and I want a better one already. I don't know. I mean, if it should mulch, Harper's Knitter. I mean, here's the thing. How often are you mowing? Because, if it has a mulch setting, I would think that it would mulch, and typically Toro does not make bad products. I mean, it's like they don't make bad lawnmowers. So I would check it, man. I cannot see that your 60 volt Toro would not mulch. I mean, do you want to stay with electric? I mean, if it has to stay electric, I mean, the Toro 60 volts is a really good mower. I mean, there's the Ego that people like. There's another one. What's the one that you also see at there's another one that's common with the big box stores. But I mean, the Toro is a step up, in my opinion, to both of those. So I mean, a question I would ask you is, how often are you mowing? And hopefully you can tell me twice a week at least. And then are you sure that if there's any settings that you have to, do you anything you need to switch on the mower to have it mulch, that you're doing that? Because it should. I mean, I'm shocked to hear that that it's not mulching properly on your Toro 60 volts. Again, they typically don't make bad mowers. All right, let's see here. James Smith says, Owlet uses two different names for the same cartridge due to one model. Bob did the product market material and Fred did the market material for another. That's what it is. I actually rolling to say, he says, we're British. What do you expect? It happens sometimes that way sometimes. I'm like, I don't know, man. You guys, I mean, being British, you're supposed to be pretty proper, right? It's like, why in this, like, you guys literally sell a lot of these cartridges. Why not call it one thing? And if it were me, like, call it the turf rake, because that makes, like, you're doing your turf raking. I mean, Scarifier is fine too, but like, I think that if you told someone, for the uninitiated, if you walked down the street and you told someone, hey, I'm going to go buy a Scarifier, they are not going to have any idea what you're talking about. Whereas if you go talk to the average person and say, hey, I'm going to go buy a turf rake, then they'll be like, turf rake, so turf, grass, rake, so some kind of rake. They're going to know some kind of a raking tool. So I think from a marketing standpoint, like, calling it a turf rake is better than calling it a Scarifier, but I'm sure people get paid a lot more than me decide those things. So I would say if you're choosing, if anyone from Owlet is watching this, go with turf rake over Scarifier if you want my opinion, because most people are going to understand that. All right, Long Tran is up next. He says, I have heard a mix of information regarding dethatching. Are you supposed to dethatch warm season grass or just scrape it? Just scrape it. I have zoysia turf. Thanks, Ron. Great question. So when it comes to dethatching, I am not a fan of doing what is truly dethatching. I'm not a fan of doing that on most lawns, let alone warm season turf, because it's very aggressive, and in most cases, it's not necessary. The thing that I am a fan of doing is turf raking / scarifying, which is where you're gently removing debris and thatch from the lawn using these little spring-loaded fingers. So if you're using a tool on a mower that looks like this, long, that I'm a fan of running these on the lawn because this is not very aggressive if it's set up properly. Dethatcher is, do I have it? No. Yeah, dethatcher is this guy, and it's going to be a lot more aggressive. And and again, I just don't really think that for most people you need to run this on the lawn. If you compare like that's far more aggressive than that. You know what I mean? So this on a warm season lawn, on a zoysia lawn, again, assuming it's set up properly, no issues. I don't have any issues at all with doing that. But the things I'd say that are the most common cultural practices that you're going to want to use on a Bermuda or zoysia lawn are verticutting. You can do that once per month whenever the lawn is actively growing, and then light turf raking whenever you feel like doing it. If you do those two things, your lawn's going to look great. Dethatching is almost never necessary in most warm season lawns. So hope that helps. So the best way to answer your question, I'd say, is depends on what you call a dethatcher, because some people call this a dethatcher, right? And it's really a turf rake / scarifier. So it depends on what when you say dethatcher, what do you mean? Do you mean this? If this is a dethatcher to you, then yeah, this is fine. If a dethatcher to you is this, then no, I'm not a fan of running those on Bermuda lawns or zoysia lawns. So it depends on what you call a dethatcher. So hope that helps. Turf raking and verticutting are the key things that I would do on a warm season lawn. All right, next up is Jim Schmid. He says, "Evening, Ron. Thank God it's Friday. Rocking my blue hue LED lights as well. Nice." He says, how do you track your treatments, applications, Excel spreadsheets, calendars? Need some help to be more consistent in tracking. So a calendar. I have a calendar. So in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, we have a calendar, but also just on my phone every 2 weeks, I just know it's the time to put down to spray more Primo. And then the first of the month is granular. So the granular I don't really track because it's like the first of the month, whichever weekend falls close to the first of the month, that's when it's time to do my granular apps. And the liquids is every 2 weeks. So you could use a simple calendar for that. When it comes to like your other products, like fungicide, insecticides, those are really the insecticides are in the April timeframe. Fungicides, from a preventative standpoint, are in the May-June timeframe. Insecticides, again, are like in August timeframe. And then preventative fungicide, again, is October-November timeframe. And all that is on the calendar on the Golf Course Lawn Academy in our paid course. And also in the link that I just sent to, who's the gentleman? Jamil, where it has that link that has the month-by-month breakdown, like that is spelled out in there as well too. It's really not that complicated, Jim. I mean, if you're doing spoon feeding, your granular first of the month, your liquids every 2 weeks. So if you get paid every 2 weeks, it's either going to be on the weekend you get paid, or it's going to be on the weekend you don't get paid. That's how you can track when you're going to be spraying liquids in your lawn. So that's another way of doing it. There's no reason to really make it overly complicated. And your fungicide apps and insecticide apps, just, those are only specific times of the year when you're using them, when you're doing them for preventative purposes. All right, next up is Matt the Mailman. He says, "Hey Ron, is there any truth in scorching your lawn by watering midday in the summer?" No. I water my entire lawn 30 minutes a day with a sprinkler, so it takes all day long. I have not noticed any damage. No, it's not. Not really. No, I water my lawn all times a day. I water mainly in the morning because that's when I get the most out of the water. Like if you water in like noon, you could do that, but it's hot out, so a lot of the water is going to be lost to evaporation. And during the daytime, it tends to be more windy, so you're also just losing more water from that standpoint too. So watering either in the early morning or in the afternoon is fine, but like the reason why I don't really recommend doing it in the middle of the day is because you're not going to get as much out of the water. As far as you watering the lawn and it burning the lawn, is not. I've never seen that to be a thing. I mean, I know what you're talking about. The way the myth goes is that you water the lawn, and because there's water on the grass, the water performs like a prism, and then the sun like shines through the prism of the grass, and it creates like it causes like heats it and causes burning, and but it's just not true. I mean, it rains in the middle of the day a lot of times. Like it rains in the middle of the day, and then it'll be sunny an hour or so later, and the grass doesn't get burned. So the reason why I would say do not water your lawn in the middle of the day is because it's not the most efficient time to water your lawn, not because it's going to necessarily damage it. And then as you're finding out, you do it in the middle of the day and it works just fine, right? So yeah, I wouldn't. I think I'm gonna call that one debunked. I mean, I'm sure someone will tell me, no, you're absolutely wrong. Watering in the middle of the day is horrible for your grass. I disagree. I mean, it's like I mean, when you're out if you're really hot, if you go out and you're running like a marathon, or you're really hot out working out and you get water on you, someone splashes water on you, you don't get sick, you don't feel, I mean, it's refreshing, right? So if anything, I'd imagine the grass is probably like, oh, thank you for a little cool down in the middle of the day. But I would not. Again, it's not the best time to run your irrigation cycles because you are not getting the most out of the water you're putting on the lawn. That is why I would recommend not doing it. But if you want to, if a really hot day and you want to cool the lawn off, run a short irrigation cycle, it's not going to hurt anything. You're just not going to get a whole lot out of the irrigation, the water you're putting down. So yeah. Next up is G Free. He says, Ron, it was amazing. The GM 1600 cutting the whole lawn in 12 minutes. Yeah, so you guys see, when I tell you guys that I mow the entire lawn front and back in less than an hour, and that's switching mowers, you can see it because that one video, that video of the one of me just running the Greensmaster, that video picked up from where the comparison video with the Revolution left off. So it wasn't like mowing the entire back lawn, but it was mowing like half of it, maybe a little bit more than half of it in in that however long that video was. So yeah, doesn't take long. Doesn't take long at all. Just set the mower and just do your whip turn, just keep the mower moving. It does all the work. So glad you enjoyed it. And I'll do more of that in the future if you guys want. Next up is Joseph Atkins. He says, do you mulch or bag after applying granular fertilizer? I'm asking because I worry about wasting fertilizer due to bagging the clippings from the lawn cutting. I do not, Joseph. The reason why is even though my lawn is pretty thick and tight, is the fertilizers that I use, the prill is very fine. So I'll show you here. We can do story time with fertilizer. So if you're using a fertilizer like with a prill size like this, right? So it's a use fertilizer parlance. This is what you'd call like a 200 or 210 SGN, size guide numbers. This is what most fertilizer looks like. And if you're putting this on a lawn, especially a real mowed lawn, then yeah, it is a real concern that a lot of this some of it will be sitting on top of the grass. And if you mow the lawn and you bag your clippings, that you will pick some of this stuff up, right? The stuff that I use primarily on my lawn, you see, this is what most regular fertilizer looks like. The stuff I use on my lawn is that. This is Humic Max. So you can see how much finer the prill is, how much smaller the prill is. This is 150 SGN. So when you apply this to the lawn, it literally disappears. Like you'll put this down with a broadcast spreader and you look at the lawn and you don't really see this. I mean, you see like one pebble here and there, but for the most part, this stuff disappears. It goes away. So there's not really an issue with mowing and bagging your clippings afterwards if you're using something like this. Also, if you want to take it up a notch even more, so this is Humic Max. This are the greens grade fertilizers that we sell. So this is the complete 14-7-14 and the stress 12-0-24. So this is the starter fertilizer, the balanced fertilizer, and this is also the high potassium fertilizer. So this you're really not going to have a problem with picking up any of it with your mower. This you're definitely not, because this stuff, you apply it, it's hard to even see when it's coming out of your broadcast spreader, but you apply it and it simply disappears. And then for contrast, this is again a normal fertilizer. This is the complete 14-7-14 or the stress. And if you want to see like from a reference size what it looks like, this is a tip of a pen, and then this is a tip of a pen compared to the prill of like normal fertilizer. And this is the same pen against Humic Max. So you see how much bigger the tip of the pen is compared to these prill. And then finally, the greens grade fertilizer, which you can't even make it out. This is like almost like a powder, right? So that's the stuff. These two are what I use on my lawn, which is why I don't have a problem where whenever I bag my clippings of picking up a bunch of the fertilizer after, when I'm done mowing. So the stuff I'm talking about, Joseph, is, where is it? It was right here. So any of these, so if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, and then go to lawn fertilizer, any of these three fit that bill. So Humic Max is this one, is this guy. And then these two, the Complete 14714 and then the Stressful 024, are the greens grade fertilizers, which are the finest prill. They're an 80 SGN prill. So they are all great choices. And if you want a link to take you to those, I got a fun one that I created just because I have a weird sense of humor. Go to Golf Course Lawn Store, call / the good stuff, and that will take you to all the Lebanon fertilizers. So there you go. So at Joseph Atkins, there you go. That's those are the fertilizers right there. That link will take you there. Okay, next up we have Jim Schmid. He says, just scooped up the carbon kit and applied my first bi-monthly app. If applying every 2 weeks, how long into later summer / fall would you recommend applying? Depends on where you are, what kind of grass you have, Jim. For a warm season lawn, really October is when I would shut it down. So you can still do your liquid sprays into October. Gauge how your lawn is looking. If you're still mowing it, you can still continue to spray it. If you have a cool season lawn, really until you're getting close to the first frost, like before the lawn is going to start checking out because snow is about to arrive, then you want to shut it down. So it depends on your grass type. If you got warm season grass, and also depends on where you are. If you're in Florida, you spray it year round, right? If you're in Georgia, late October is when you would begin tapering off any kind of fertilizer apps at all. Granular at the beginning of the month, and then liquids you can begin tapering those off a little bit later on into the month. So yeah, so it depends. I don't know where you are or what kind of grass you have, but hopefully that helps answer your question as far as applications. Since your granular is stopping soon, but will continue some fall year, do you apply anything for potash going into the fall winter? No, not really. I mean, the release 901C has 1% potassium in it, so a little bit. And the last potassium app that I do, the last fertilizer app that I do, has high potassium. So it's this guy. That's the season with this fertilizer. You can see it's 24% potassium. So that's like my winterizer. It's like my winterizer fertilizer that I use to shut the season down with. So, and the liquids are not going to have a lot of potassium, but the granular does. Good question. It's a good one. Next up is No Name. He says, I have a few thin spots from killing weeds. Do you think using carbonized PN in those areas will be effective to recover those spots later in the season? It won't hurt. It won't hurt. It's not like carbonized PN is like a magic bullet that's going to make grass, like you're going to put it down and then the next week you're going to have grass there, but it's certainly not going to hurt. It's a very rich organic material, and as far as helping grass or any plant grow there, is going to help with that. So if you got some and you want to put some down, by all means, it's not going to hurt anything. There's literally no negative to it. Harper's Knitter says, no beard, please, perfect as you are. Yeah, I can't do long hair or a beard. I mean, I can't grow one. I can't grow a beard, but then also like long hair, you can tell this, like I keep my hair, like I keep my grass. You see, I actually cut it today. So I gave it, this is like a 0.5 millimeter I had to cut. That's what I'm rocking here. And yeah, mainly because, main reason why I don't keep my hair long is because like every week I do at least 3 days of martial arts, and then I'm also out in the lawn working and stuff, and I don't want to have like sweat in my hair and this kind of, it's easier to wash this. I can literally just put some shampoo in, scrub it, and I'm done. I'm all cleaned up and I'm good to go. Whereas if you have more hair, it's more to take care of, it's more headache, got to comb it more, and just more headache. So I just don't do that. Just keep it like this, high and tight. All right, we have a question here from Instagram. It's from John Carter. He says, I'm sure it's been said, and I missed it. How heavy is the Revolution compared to the True Cut? They're comparable. I haven't weighed both of them, but they're comparable in weight to my, like, me just feeling both mowers. Right? I have a 25-inch True Cut, and the Revolution is a 26-inch. They feel around similar in weight. I have not weighed them though, so I don't know. The Greensmaster feels heavier than both of them. So that's thing one. So I don't know. I didn't answer your question, but it feels they're close. And he says, having a slope lawn as well, my True Cut is crazy heavy. They're along the same lines, but again, remember the Revolution climbs a slope better than the True Cut does. So I wouldn't, if you're able to mow your slope with the True Cut, you're going to be able to mow the slope with the Revolution. So hope that helps, John. All right, we are winding down, guys and gals. We're getting close here. And Blackbeard says, actually, no, I got Yamaha Gold first. He says, hey, Ron, tournament coming up soon? No, in the fall, it's going to be a clinic. So in October, that's a good question. In October, middle of October, I have to look and see. There's going to be 1 week where I'm going to miss the live stream. I think it's going to be the October 15th, whatever that weekend is. Let me look here. I can tell you. It's going to be the weekend of, I think it's the weekend of October. Yeah, October 13th. There will likely be no live stream, or it'll be either the day before, or sometime earlier in that week. I'll do a live stream, but it will not be Friday night. That on the 13th, because I will be at the clinic it's gonna be at the black belt test and at the clinic. So on October 13th, probably no live stream. Not probably, there will not be a live stream, and then it'll be earlier in the week. As I'll just move it to, because you guys are a demanding bunch. You're like, just move it in earlier. Right? No Name says, I would like to request Ron wear a sweet mustache for the Halloween show. Dude, you know what I do for dress up for Halloween every year? I have like a Cobra Kai. I have like a dobok that I wear. That's like the Cobra Kai dobok. That's what I wear. So I'm very like unoriginal when it comes to my Halloween costume. All right. Blackbeard says, did I miss how to turn the Revolution with a solid looking back roller? Does it turn easy? Can you turn on a dime with passes? Yeah, it turns really easy. I mean, it's no more difficult to turn than my Greensmaster is. So yes, you can do whip turns with it, no problem. If you want to see what it's like to mow with it, there's a video that I released earlier this week, Blackbeard, that shows me mowing with the Revolution, and you can see for yourself how it is to turn. It does a great job. I don't know what your thing is, if it's an L or yeah, there we go. It's an L. So that link there will take you to a video that literally shows a few minutes of just mowing with the Revolution. You can see when I'm making my passes how I do turns with it, and it's easy. It's easy, no problem at all. Reese Morton is up next. What's going on, Real Mowing? Say hey to you. Reese Morton is up next. He says, thanks for the email response. Decided against the Blue Muta and went with Fireball Rye Overseed. Happy experimenting. Nice. I think you're going to be happier with that, man. Like overseeding with rye as a temporary thing to do over the fall and winter and then early spring, much better than trying to do Blue Muta like year round. Like you're just creating, I mean, it can look kind of cool, but you're just creating headaches for yourself, in my opinion. Like your herbicide options become limited. When you spray growth regulator, you're by definition doing it wrong with one of the grass types. So you're creating problems where there doesn't need to be one. All right. No Name says, I had to step away at the beginning, but please tell me someone brought up Robert Rainey's and Ron's tendency to not like to leave well enough alone. Why are you trying to start stuff, man? Like why? Like, we're all good here. Why are you trying to bring up? Why are you trying to be that guy? It's not leaving well enough alone. I'm doing the testing so you guys don't have to. And turf raking is a necessity. Look at how the lawn looks. You're telling me that is not necessary? That looks awesome, man. That's what I need that in my life. You need that in your life. Everyone needs that in their life. And turf raking is the way to make that happen. So don't be that person, No Name. You're trying to be difficult. Get out there and turf rake. You want to. He says, I film local events along with photography. I'm in Atlanta. Thanks for the help on the grass. I'm really going to make the neighbors mad when I kill off 75% of my lawn. Oh, well, I love Bermuda. Hey, man, it is what it is. It's got to get worse before it gets better. That's awesome, guys. Look at that. We're keeping it under 4 hours tonight. Well, guys, gals, I think that is it. Let me cue the outro music. Cool. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, check out the new blog post on how to get rid of mosquitoes in your lawn and also on how to get rid of nutsedge. It will be in the description and it'll also be the pinned comment. One of them will be the pinned comment once the show is over. If you guys haven't got your pre-emergent down yet, I beg you, I implore you, I'm pleading with you, please apply your pre-emergent. It's gonna make life so much easier as far as keeping weeds out of your lawn this fall and into the springtime. Again, thank you guys for taking some time out of your Friday, this Friday evening to come hang out with me. And I really appreciate it. I will see you guys next week. Take care.